What up, Gnostic sex cultists? Happy Wednesday. Welcome to The Cult. The Cult is a show that I stream Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, where we talk about whatever I want to talk about, whether that be analyzing the left, which we've been doing for the last several days, or in this case, dipping our toes into the anti-Semitism waters, as it were, which I would never say or do anything anti-Semitic. I would never say or do that. I'm definitely not. I mean, listen, man, I've been called a lot of things. I've been called a racist. I've been called a transphobe. I've been called an anti-Semite over and over. I would never do that. I would never. Just because I have found myself in the position of questioning every single thing that I ever thought was true. Just because, I would absolutely never get high on the internet, Bob. That would absolutely never happen. Yeah, see, that's what happens when you don't wash your hair and you don't feel like putting on a hat. Yeah, the deeply sexy hair pulled back of like, Carlin didn't get a chance to take a shower today, and so that's the way that goes. Yo, what a week it's been. Is it seriously only Wednesday? I feel like the socialism over the weekend broke me to a certain extent, and I'm just like, I'm still in recovery of socialism over the weekend. Yeah, that's hot. I know. The Groypers love that. The Groypers love it when I tell people to suck my dick on Twitter and stuff like that. All right. Everyone, wait, what? Really? 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 Yo, the socialism was brutal. It was brutal. It was a rough week. It was a rough weekend. And it's like, I am broken. I am broken by how much socialism we watch. So we're going to go do some anti-Semitism today instead. We're going to do some anti-Semitism because, we've been waiting. I was looking forward to this. I'm not quite looking forward to this as much as I would have looking forward to, Candace debating Ben Shapiro. Is there something wrong with my microphone? Let's see. Is there something wrong with my microphone? People, let me know if there is something wrong. It sounds fine to me, but if it doesn't sound fine to you, you guys got to let me know, because if you guys don't let me know, then I can't do nothing about it. Yasmin bot says it sounds fine. Yasmin says it sounds fine. LK says, okay, so that looks like it might just be your volume there, Shayna. That looks like it might just be your volume. Yep, can't get banned. Well, so fun fact, right before the live stream, I thought I got demonetized on Twitter. I really did. I thought I got demonetized on Twitter. And I was like, what the fuck? What happened? Hang on, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make myself a little bit, I'm going to make myself bigger. Hang on. Here's what we're going to do. Whoop. I'm going to make myself bigger on the screen. There we go. No! Why did it make me bigger? Hang on. I only want one person. Save. Okay, I guess I'm back to that now. Bing! There I go. Now I'm bigger. A little bit bigger. Anyway. Yeah, we definitely can't get banned over this. You know what, Trendlin? I still have to make a Plague Doctor t-shirt for this month. I have like I don't even know why I keep making new Plague Doctor t-shirts. I have like 87,000 Plague Doctor designs. I don't know why I keep making new ones, but I still need to make a Plague Doctor t-shirt. And if I feel like making a fucking penguin shirt, Trendlin, I'll make one, but don't get your hopes up, all right? Don't get your hopes up. All right, so it's Anti-Semitism Day on my channel, and the thing of it is like I hate Candace Owens. I'm just gonna say it. I hate Candace Owens. I think she's a narcissist. And you guys know, I don't throw around the term narcissist lightly at all. I'm not one of those people who every single time I don't like someone, I'm going to call them a narcissist or say they have a personality disorder. I hate it when people do that. But I legitimately think that Candace Owens is a narcissist. When I was touring with Walkaway back in 2020, Brandon Strauch once told me this story. And I'm no longer on good terms with Brandon Strauch, so I don't actually give a flying F whether he likes that I'm telling this story publicly or not. But this is the story that Brandon Strauch told me. When we were touring with Walkaway in 2020, Brandon was supposed to get... Well, I don't know if this was in 2020 or if it was before that. It might have been before that, but... So here's what happened. Brandon Strauch was supposed to get an award from some organization for, like, getting people to leave the left or something. And what the organization wanted to do is they wanted to make it a joint award between Brandon Strauch and Candace Owens. So basically, they would split the award. Now, this is just a PR stunt. This doesn't really mean anything. It's not like they got a cash prize or anything. But this organization wanted to basically split this, like, getting people to leave the left award between Brandon Strauch and Candace Owens. Well, Candace Owens didn't want to share the award. Candace Owens called the organization, and she said, if you don't remove Brandon Strauch from the award and just give it to me and only me, then I'm not going. And the organization caved because they're conservatives, and that's just what they do. They cave every single time. And so the organization pulled the award and reneged on the award for Brandon Strauch so that Candace Owens could be the one and only person getting this award that she probably today doesn't even remember that she got. That's the type of person Candace Owens is. I don't like that Candace Owens started her career by doxing other people and dragging them and having a whole social media company around doxing people. I don't like that Candace. I think one of the things the thing that got me blocked by Candace Owens on Twitter is because Nicole Arbour came out and gave evidence that Candace Owens recorded private phone calls with Nicole Arbour. And basically what happened is Candace had her first big show with the Daily Wire. Nicole Arbour was on her show for the first episode. And Candace Owens had recorded their private phone calls earlier that week and was going to ambush Nicole Arbour live on her show with their privately recorded phone calls. She was all set up to do this. And Nicole Arbour presented evidence of this, and I saw it. I was like, holy shit. And I was one of the only people who actually covered this when Nicole Arbour did this. I had Nicole Arbour on my channel. We talked about it. And Candace Owens was going to ambush someone who thought that Candace was her friend with privately recorded phone calls on her show. And I was like, bruh. And then I found out that Candace Owens blocked me on Twitter, which I wasn't upset about or anything, but the circumstances behind it were weird because I never interacted with Candace Owens on Twitter. So this is one of those things where Candace Owens purposefully sought me out to block me specifically. Another thing that Candace Owens did that I didn't like is Candace Owens jumped on the Eliza Blue smear bandwagon. Do you guys remember that? When basically it seemed like the entire internet was coming down on Eliza Blue and saying she wasn't really the victim of trafficking, which I absolutely 100% believe she was. I 100% believe her. And listen, I don't just say that, like, it's not like she and I were like buddies or anything. Like, I actually just believe her story. I think when you look at the facts of the story, it does line up. But the entire internet came down on her. Candace Owens uplifted this grifter podcast that was like putting all this bullshit out there about Eliza Blue, and Candace Owens actually did a whole show being like, this podcast is pretty great, and and I was like, fuck you. And I've heard so many stories about Candace Owens behind the scenes of how she just uses people, discards people, throws people under the bus. Except she is always out for one person, and that person is Candace Owens. So I've never liked Candace Owens. I will never be on Candace Owens' side. I will never trust Candace Owens. And when Candace Owens started tiptoeing into the anti-Semitism waters at the Daily Wire, you know, I'm not going to lie, I was interested. I was like, oh, what is Candace going to say now? This is after October 7th. Candace Owens starts kicking the hornet's nest, being like, why can't we talk about this? Why can't we talk about this? Why can't we talk about this? Ends up getting her ass fired from the Daily Wire. And listen, man, in that dispute, I like to think I'm an ethically honest person, which means that, like, if I think you're right, I will say that you're right, regardless of whether or not I like you. So in the dispute with the Daily Wire, when Candace Owens was out there saying Christ is king, Ben Shapiro's out there basically throwing Candace Owens under the bus because they're saying that the line at the Daily Wire was saying Christ is king is anti-Semitic, which of course is bullshit. And some of you may remember several months back, I ended up on a Twitter space with Nick Fuentes and Lauren Chen and Jeremy Boring, where I actually got to confront Jeremy Boring, and I got Jeremy Boring to admit that he will not employ anyone at the Daily Wire unless they take the right line on Israel. And he also admitted in that Twitter space for the first time that he had indeed fired Candace Owens from the Daily Wire. And we all know why Candace Owens got fired from the Daily Wire. It's because she didn't take the right line on Israel. We all know that. So on that one specific issue, I was kind of on Candace Owens' side, but make no mistake, I still don't trust the bitch, and I never trusted the bitch, and I will never trust the bitch because she is a narcissist, and narcissists do not change their stripes. They might do right things every once in a while. They might end up being accidentally on the right side of something every once in a while, but they do not change, and even if they do something good, you still cannot trust them ever. So then Candace Owens went out on her own, and she starts doing her own show. And she starts talking about the Jewish stuff, and she starts talking about World War II, and she starts talking about all this stuff. And, you know, a lot of the Groypers kind of attached onto her because even Nick Fuentes created a Candace Owens account because Nick Fuentes wanted to, like, you know, be like, hey, Candace, we see you. We see you. And, you know, the Groypers would go into Candace Owens' live chat, and the Groypers even asked her, will you collaborate with Nick Fuentes? And Candace Owens said, yeah, I'll collaborate with Nick Fuentes. Why not? Well, why hasn't that collaboration ever happened? Why hasn't that collaboration ever happened? Candace Owens had a Twitter space, what was it, maybe a couple weeks ago or something, where they were talking about this. They were talking about the influence of like the influence of like Jewish powers like overtly in this Twitter space. People were in the replies to the Twitter space saying, "Why don't you talk to Nick Fuentes? Why don't you talk to Nick Fuentes? Why don't you talk to Nick Fuentes?" Nick Fuentes didn't get an invite. Dave Smith got an invite. And then Candace Owens started talking about how it's not really the Jews, it's the Frankists. And so it kind of seems to me like Candace Owens is going back. I have several theories about this. Number one, listen, I don't care if people are Jewish. I really don't. I do not care if people are Jewish. I hate to use this line, but I do actually have Jewish friends. I adore them. I love their food. It's great. I don't care if people are Jewish. Makes no difference to me at all. However, I think it is undeniable that there is a foreign power controlling our government and controlling our media and demanding that we give them all of our money. I think it is undeniable where some of the ideas in society comes from, like all the queer stuff, all the transgender stuff, things like that. And I think it is undeniable that we have been lied to about what happened in World War II. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know how you can be a thinking person after October 7th and see all the things that have happened since October 7th. And I don't know how you can be a thinking person, a critical person, and not come to these unavoidable conclusions that our country is controlled by Israel, that there is a really disproportional impact that they have about what goes on in this country, that many of the subversive elements that we are dealing with in our society come from the Jews. I'm sorry. And that we have been lied to about what happened during World War II all of our lives. That we were traumatized with a story about the Holocaust when we were younger, and it just didn't happen the way that they said it did. And again, I don't hate Jewish people. I don't particularly care if Israel exists. I want everyone to be happy. I want everyone to just be able to do their thing and to leave me the fuck alone. But I don't like being lied to. And I think that, again, you cannot be a thinking person and not come to some of these absolutely unavoidable conclusions. And I say that knowing that I'm on YouTube and knowing that I'm not necessarily supposed to say that on YouTube, okay? So Candace Owens is tiptoeing around these issues. Now, I think that Candace Owens is smarter than she lets on sometimes. I also think there are ways in which Candace Owens is very stupid. But one of the things that I cannot reconcile is, why hasn't Candace Owens talked to Nick Fuentes? It makes no godly sense. Nick Fuentes is like the most relevant person in the space having these conversations. Nick Fuentes has been on all sorts of major shows. Nick Fuentes, there's no denying how smart that kid is. Even if you don't like the things Nick Fuentes has to say, there's no denying how smart that kid is. Nick Fuentes is not like, is not a hateful person. He's a rational person. He backs up everything he says. There is absolutely no reason why Candace Owens has not yet collaborated with Nick Fuentes. It should have happened months ago, except that Candace Owens is a narcissist, and she knows full and damn well that Nick Fuentes is going to outshine Candace Owens if they ever collaborate. That's why she's not going to do it. Dave Smith, on the other hand, Dave Smith is controllable. Dave Smith just wants to be famous. Dave Smith just wants to make money. Dave Smith just wants to build a brand. That's all he wants to do. He's a failed fucking comedian that isn't even fucking funny, that has managed to worm his way in to being famous on the internet because he got into, like, he made his way into, like, being the libertarian. And believe me, man, I've been to all the libertarian events. I used to have to go to Dave Smith comedy shows. You actually had to pretend that Dave Smith was funny. I cannot tell you how many times I had to pretend that Dave Smith was funny. There's a reason that Dave Smith is making it as a political pundit more than he is as a comedian. He's not fucking funny. But what he cares about is being an entertainer, building a brand, just like every other fucking conservative influencer. Just like every other one. Right? But Candace Owens likes Dave Smith because Dave Smith is controllable, also because Dave Smith is Jewish. And I don't think, again, I think this is just one of those things that you can't deny. Candace Owens wants to be able to sit next to Dave Smith and say, I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm just asking questions. Whereas if you put Candace Owens next to Nick Fuentes, she's like, I'm going to lose my YouTube channel. If I even talk to Nick Fuentes, I am going to lose my YouTube channel. Well, Candace, Nick Fuentes has been on other YouTube channels, and those people didn't lose their YouTube channels. And whatever's going on YouTube, that doesn't prevent Candace Owens from doing a Twitter space with Nick Fuentes. Nothing is stopping Candace Owens from talking to him. Anyway. All of this is a really long preamble to say that I don't actually take Candace Owens seriously on this issue. I don't actually believe that, I absolutely believe that the only reason that Candace Owens is tiptoeing into this space is because she sees an opportunity to grift. That's it. That is the only reason that Candace Owens is even tiptoeing into this space. And you know what? Like, it is kind of undeniable, man. I've been on the receiving end of the love from the Groypers. I really have. And it's nice. It's nice when they elevate your stuff. It's nice when they share it. It's nice when the Groypers like you. You can't deny it. But I think at this point, I really hope that Nick Fuentes and the Groypers have learned their lesson about Candace Owens, because she's never going to change. This is just a grift. That's all it fucking is. It is a grift, and she's going to say and do whatever she needs to do to protect herself. And what she needs to do to protect herself is to make sure she has a Jew sitting right next to her so she can say, I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm doing a whole 10-part series with Dave Smith, and we're going to talk about everything. And Dave Smith is amazing, and I love Jewish people. All my friends are Jewish. This is great. That's what she's going to do. So why are we watching this then? Why are we watching this? Well, because we're watching this because I feel like it. And I think Rabbi Shmuley is a scumbag. And I think that this is going to be entertaining. Rabbi Shmuley, like, I don't know how anyone can take this guy seriously. I don't know, like this guy, like, even just looking at him. And this is not, I'm not saying this because he's Jewish. I'm saying this because you look at him, he is smarmy, he is gross, he has bad energy. He's just like, he's such an asshole. And so you got the queen, well, no, I'm the queen bitch of the internet. Candace Owens is the queen narcissist of the internet. So you got the queen narcissist grifter of the internet, Candace Owens, versus the butt plug peddler, Rabbi Shmuley, with Piers Morgan stuck in the middle. And yeah, we're just doing this for fun. This is for fun. It's a Wednesday. We had a long weekend, okay? We watched 22 hours of socialism within a 48-hour time period. I think we deserve to let our hair down. I think we deserve to have a little fun. Who's with me? Yup. Basically, you're right. 3 retards arguing. Great. Beautiful. Beautiful. Long live the internet. Thank God. Thank God for the internet. This is what we're here for. So that's what we're doing today, guys. We're watching this and we're gonna talk about it. Couple quick things before we get started. But hang on. First off, I want to thank everyone who's been signing up as a member on my Substack. That is a supporting member for $8 a month, $80 a year. As a reminder, my work is 100% completely funded by you guys. So if you enjoyed the breakdown of the Nashville Shooter Manifesto that I did yesterday, if you're enjoying the re-education series, if you're enjoying this new kind of style of video I'm putting out, where I'm doing these quick hit videos explaining just certain realities about what's going on in the world, the far left, what you need to know about the far right, all that stuff, I'm actually getting really good traction on some of these videos that I've been putting out lately, which is kind of amazing to me because it's literally just me talking into my cell phone, holding it up like that. But apparently people don't want me to do a show like this. People just want me to talk into a cell phone for like 5-10 minutes, rant about whatever topic I feel like ranting about. All of a sudden I get thousands more views, thousands more fucking clicks than I usually get on these videos. Hey man, if that's what you want me to do, I will talk into my cell phone. But as always, you guys do support the work I'm doing, and I can't do it without you. I'm 100% grassroots funded. I will not work with any of these shill political organizations. I'm not going to be beholden to any of these fucking political narratives. My only job is to tell you the truth and to show you the receipts. And if you like what I'm doing, if you want to support the work I'm doing, head over to my Substack, which is Carlyn, KARLYN.substack.com, and sign up as a member for $8 a month, $80 a year. I do have a goal of getting to 100 new members this month. We've gotten 20 so far, which is pretty great. We are off to a great start, but I do need more memberships. Come on, guys. $8. I pay more than $8 for a cup of coffee at Starbucks. I believe in all you guys. I know you can do it. LK says the cell phone style is very Gen Z algo stuff. Yeah, I'm just going to have to do more of that. You know what? Whatever. If I need to talk into my cell phone, I will just talk into my cell phone. Super chats are also a great way to support the channel, guys. I do have a $100 goal for every stream I do. So if you feel so inclined to send in $5 if you appreciate, maybe I'm entertaining you, maybe I'm pissing you off, maybe I'm just helping you kill time, maybe I'm saying the things out loud that you don't want to say and you want me to say them out loud, and I'll say them out loud and I don't mind doing it. If you appreciate it, throw in a $5, $10 super chat. If 20 people watching this throw in $5, we hit that super chat goal. You guys keep me in business. I do really appreciate it. So that's number one. Number two, I have a Twitter space coming up later tonight. You guys might remember a few weeks ago, I talked to this guy, Zach, on a Twitter space, and we talked about basically the overlap between the Jewish stuff and radical revolutionary socialists. And we had a great talk, and, we didn't agree on everything, but I think we had a great kind of like rapport. It was very kind of just calm. It was not a debate. It was a discussion. And Zach was like, Carlyn, you need to talk to this guy. You need to talk to Ian Malcolm. And I was like, okay, I'll talk to him. I'll talk to anyone. And so we scheduled this a couple weeks ago, and now we're actually going to be doing it tonight. That's going to be at 9 p.m. tonight. We are going to be continuing the Twitter space conversation about the overlap between the Jewish stuff and the radical revolutionary leftist stuff. And we're just going to see where we go. And that's what we're doing. We're doing that at 9 p.m. tonight. You guys can follow me on Twitter, at Dr. Carlin B, and make sure you join us. And I think we're gonna have a good talk. My dog is complaining about something. I don't exactly know what. She's definitely complaining about something. Definitely something. Thank you, Kazmar, for the super chat. I do appreciate it. Let's add that to our little tally here. So that's what we're doing later tonight, guys. Breakdown videos will always do much better than live stream and live stream clips. Any form that is structured educational video is great for... Well, no. Tinge, this is the structured educational video. The live stream is the structured educational video. Me talking in my cell phone is not a structured educational video. So I have no idea why those videos are doing so well, but I promise you, the live streams are far more of a structured educational video than me talking into a cell phone. But if people want what they want, it is what it is. And so, you know what? Whatever. I guess we'll give it a try. Let's see. I guess that's really all I have, guys. Let's just jump right into it. Hopefully my dog starts to shut the fuck up. Oh, look at that. I have to make myself smaller again now. Hang on. Let me make myself smaller again. Boom. Bing. See, I like this now. I like this new kind of like way that I can have my setup here. Maybe I can even make this smaller. Hang on. We're doing it. We're doing this on the fly. I'm messing around with things on the fly. Hang on. Okay, that's good enough. Bing. Update layout. There we go. All right, guys. Please mount the like button. Chief, you know what? You're right. Chief Trumpster is a dreamboat. I met Chief Trumpster in person. Chief Trumpster is very handsome. He's very dapper. He's a really nice guy, actually. And so, yes, Chief Trumpster is a dreamboat. True. All right, guys, let's get this party started. Please make sure you have mounted the like button for me. If you don't feel like mounting the like button, you can hold hands with the like button. You can high five the like button. You can give the like button a kiss on the cheek. You can give the like button a slap on the ass. If you want to do something dirty and ill-considered to the like button, just know the like button consents to everything. Let us know what you're doing to the like button in the chat if you feel so inclined to share that information. Some of you might just want to fantasize about whatever you want to do to the like button in your head. That's fine too. But please do something to the like button because, as you know, this is how we get videos out there on Twitter. We have to beg and plead for people to press a button. Otherwise, YouTube will not recommend my content because that's the way the algorithm works. So let's get those likes up a little bit. Come on. I want to see the likes come up. I know you guys can do it. Come on. We got to get those are rookie numbers, guys. Come on. You can do whatever you like to it. Act out your wildest fantasies on the like button. Bill has massaged the like button, but I did it an odd number of times so it would stay toggled on. I think that's a good idea, Bill. Liquid Marble read the like button, the horrific rough draft of a book. I think that's torture enough. Bach gave the like button a Shmuley butt plug. Grand T-Tone fingered the like button. Do whatever you want to the like button. Like button consents to all. All right, guys, let's see what happened.
The synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. And I'm speaking directly to you, Rabbi Shmuley.
You have...
Wait. Did we really start this off with Candace Owens' line that there are these Jews that are fucking up the world, but they're not really Jews. They're really Satanists, but they're pretending to be Jews? Are you shitting me? That's the very first line in this video is Candace Owens saying, "You're not really a Jew, Rabbi Shmuley. You're a Satanist that's pretending to be a Jew." All right, go ahead.
The Jewish community beginning to call her not Candace Owens, but Candace Ovens.
People can see and hear evil.
Oh! Rabbi Shmuley stole that from Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes said on his show last week that they should be calling Candace Owens Candace Ovens. Rabbi Shmuley literally just stole Nick Fuentes' line. We're 15 seconds into this video. He stole Nick's line. Wow. Yeah, Nick said that on No Holds Barred last week. True.
And what you are doing right now is an act of evil. We all recognize that Rabbi Shmuley is unhinged.
Candace Owens never met Michael Jackson. I was his rabbi for 2 years. She said that I killed him, that she would say the Jews killed Michael Jackson. You never said that I threatened to murder you?
No, I never said that you threatened to murder me. Don't cut me off. I did not cut you off.
Now she's fact-checking it? You're kidding me, right? I don't have a computer on me.
The Israeli Defense Force had dropped more bombs on Gaza than were dropped on Dresden. That is true. Do you accept that, Rabbi Shmuley?
You know, Piers, I find this an astonishing debate.
You asked?
First of all, I don't... Wait, what do you mean it's true? Because she said it's true?
Oh my God.
The war in Gaza is barreling towards a grim anniversary. This deadly year, sparked by a terrorist atrocity and met with an often merciless response, has changed the way that many people think about an historic dispute. Never in our lifetimes has there been such active debate about Israel's role in the modern world and whether the United States and its allies should back it. Protests and counter-protests have brought anti-Semitism to the fore, along with the charge that it sometimes insulates Israel from criticism. My next two guests have vivid opinions on these big issues and have had a very public feud. We're bringing them together for what we intend I hope, to be a proper debate. The topics will be the Israel-Hamas war, anti-Semitism in public life, American involvement in Israel, and Israeli involvement in the United States. And we'll even talk about Michael Jackson, who is relevant to this debate. Both guests will get roughly equal speaking time and a chance to question each other. Speaking of the other guest is not encouraged. Ad hominem attacks are strongly discouraged. But knowing these two as I do, I can make no promises. Returning to Uncensored, host of the Candace podcast, Candace Owens, and the author of The Israel Warrior and the Michael Jackson tapes, Rabbi Shmuley. So welcome to both of you. First of all, it's great you're doing this. You've had a public feud.
I am on team sanity. I am on team I only care what the truth is, and I don't really give a fuck what your feelings are about that. I am on team Candace sucks and Rabbi Shmuley sucks. I'm on team neither of these people should be trusted. I'm on team I don't like hurling around names at people because you're using it as just like a way to get power over people. Like, Brian, what the fuck are you even doing here? Honestly, I've seen you in the chat lately. What the fuck are you even doing here? Are you serious with this? Team racist or team anti-Semitic? Really? Really? Grow the fuck up.
For a couple of years now. You've torn into each other in various forums. This is your chance to take each other on. And at the center of this, as I said in the intro there, is a very serious global story, which is the Israel-Hamas war and all the complexities that come away from that. I want to give you both the chance to make an opening statement. So, Rabbi Shmuley, you won the toss. We didn't really actually toss, but we both agreed you can do this. You go first. Your opening remarks.
Thank you, Piers, for having me, and Candace, thank you for debating me. I have spent my life bringing together the Black and Jewish communities, emphasizing that we share not only a history of shared persecution, but of spiritual promise. Today, we debate an American tragedy, a woman of unique eloquence who has abused that eloquence to become simultaneously the foremost anti-Black rhetorician in all of the United States and the foremost anti-Semite in America.
Oh, come on.
The statements that Candace has made against her own community.
The foremost anti-Semite in America. This is where I start to just not take this seriously at all. Anyone that has ever been on Gab for more than half an hour knows that there are way more anti-Semitic people in the country than Candace Owens. There are way more anti-Semitic people in the country than Nick Fuentes. There are actual there are real people who will talk about pretty fucking heinous shit. But Candace Owens is not actually one of them.
Community, that they cry wolf and constantly say that they're victims of racism. Her attacks on George Floyd, a man who was suffocated to death for a $20 counterfeit note saying that he was a horrible human being. A woman who went up in front of CPAC and said, "I was never a slave in America," as if that's the only form of discrimination, is what has led her community to call her not Candace, but Clandis. The first ever female Black woman who appears in her rhetoric against Blacks, calling LeBron James dumb and stupid, an icon to the Black community, as Clandis. Simultaneously, you have the Jewish community beginning to call her not Candace Owens, but Candace Ovens.
No, that's
because
Nick Fuentes.
Her Goebbels-style rhetoric against
Nick
Jews,
Fuentes.
that Jews are nearly all pedophiles. The State of Israel will set up a Theodor Herzl, a pedophile, as a haven for pedophiles. Wow. That Judaism is a demonic, satanic cult that only protects pedophiles. And by the way, her absolute...
By the way, on my Rumble exclusive show, which you can subscribe to my Rumble channel, rumble.com/Carlin. I'm doing a Rumble exclusive show called Something Controversial. We are going to be digging into the Talmud next on Something Controversial. We're either going to do that or the Nuremberg trials. But I think we need to do the Talmud. I feel like we need to do some videos on the Talmud. I want to do the Nuremberg trials at some point. But we will be starting to I have a whole list of videos about the Talmud that the Groyper sent me, so we're going to be watching some of that. So make sure you subscribe to my Rumble channel, rumble.com/Carlin, and you can join me on that because I can't talk about that shit on YouTube. Got to do it over there.
Obsession with Jewish sexuality and Jewish genitalia. The first lady of France Brigitte Macron's genitalia is disturbing. It's one of the reasons I think she hates Sigmund Freud so much, because she's a Freudian field dream in terms of his arguments that the greater the sexual
Socialist
suppression
like Freud.
and repression, the greater we see violence. But when you say that the Jews killed JFK because he was about to ostracize Israel, when you invent all of these fabrications out of whole cloth, what is the result? The result is the demonization of Jews that leads to violence. Piers, just 1 week ago, 2 days after Candace falsely accused me, as she has for 2 years, of being a murderer, of threatening to kill her, something for which she will face legal action, because you cannot malign a rabbi and his daughter as murderers. 2 days later, I was swatted in my house, where 5 police cars had to break into my house because Mayor Michael Wilds of Englewood, New Jersey, received an email, arguably from one of Candace's followers, after she said essentially what Henry II says: "Who will rid me of this troublesome priest?" which leads directly to the murder of Thomas Becket, who today is a Catholic saint, of course. We were swatted, and the FBI is now investigating Candace's rhetoric. They're investigating
Rabbi Shmuley, I'm interrupting because you've now
one final point.
Thanks, Marcus. I appreciate it.
Candace will get exactly the same amount of time. It's up to you, but it's an opening statement, right? And what I would say... May I just say finally, if I may? Well, if it's quick,
The biggest issue I have with Candace...
Listen, one of the things I do appreciate about Rabbi Shmuley, and I say this again, I have Jewish people in my life that I adore. I am not saying that all Jewish people do this. However, when I have been in debates or like contentious discussions with Jewish people over some of the things that I started to believe since October 7th, how they behave is like how Rabbi Shmuley behaves. And it is unfucking canny. It is one of those things where I'm like, is this a cultural thing with the Jews? Where they feel entitled, they hijack, they deflect, they lie, they smear. And God knows I've had my fair share of instances of being smeared and defamed by people who just happen to be Jewish when I happen to say things that they don't like. And it's just like, it's consistent. And it's one of the things that if I really kind of go back in my mind, have I ever been treated this way by people of other groups? And I mean, listen, man, I can't think of, I personally cannot think of times when I have been treated that way by members of other groups to the extent that I have been by the Jewish contingent. And yeah, I say that. Maybe it's a cultural thing. I don't know what it is, but it's extraordinarily off-putting. And if people don't like you and don't want to be around you and don't want to support you based on your behaviors and your treatment of them, then I'm sorry, you can't say you're anti-Semitic. No, bro, I don't like your behaviors. I don't like your behaviors. If you weren't acting like this, we would have no problem. It is not about you being fucking Jewish. It's about your behaviors. And maybe this is a cultural thing within the Jewish tribe. I don't fucking know. But you don't get a free pass to do whatever you want to do and act however you want to act and treat people badly and lie about people and defame people and cause people fucking problems over nothing and then go, I'm Jewish, you can't criticize me. Fuck you. And one of the reasons I like Rabbi Shmuley is I think he's a really good example of like, this is that type of behavior. And he does it so overtly and it's just with such abandon and he has such fucking entitlement that the entire world should just bend to what he wants because he's Jewish, he's Jewish, he's Jewish. No one cares, bro. You're an asshole.
To be honest, is that she claims to be a Christian. Candace, didn't Jesus say you're supposed to love your enemies? Is the love you show me that you call me filth twice on the last show that you did with Piers a piece of filth? You're supposed to love your enemies. Is that turning the other cheek? And Piers, you're an English gentleman. I've known you for many years. You allowed her to say that without even a piece of filth. When Jesus said, that you're supposed to turn the other cheek. Where have you ever turned the other cheek? When Jesus said that the meek shall inherit the earth, the arrogance, the nonstop attack against Jews, the demonization. If you are a Christian, then I am the second coming of Christ.
Okay, that's 4 minutes you've spoken to. Out of fairness, Candace, if you want to use 4 minutes to respond, you can. All I would note, Rabbi Shmuley, is you've spent 4 minutes personally attacking Candace Owens. I set this up as a debate about what is happening with the Israel-Hamas war, anti-Semitism, and so on and so on. You've turned it all completely, immediately, into an ad hominem onslaught against Candace.
How could you possibly say that? You are speaking to a woman who says the Jews are a ring of demonic pedophiles, and you're saying that I have no right to defend my people? You know, Piers, you have to stop this once and for all. There was nothing ad hominem at all.
All right.
When Candace says that the black community
you've had your say.
is a bunch of crybabies,
okay.
Everything I said was policy. I could not disagree more.
Okay, Candace will now get the same amount of time, if you want it, Candace, to respond.
Thank you, Piers. And I don't think I really do need to respond to the ad hominem attacks. I think actually one of the things that plausibly unites people across all religions, Muslims, Jews, Christians, is that we all recognize that Rabbi Shmuley is unhinged. He's just mentally, in my view, unwell. And I don't say that as an attack. I say that as just a reality. Because I've never seen someone just make things up out of thin air that were never said. And trying to screen that as a defense of black people. The black people will never accept Rabbi Shmuley after Michael Jackson put him on a list of people who he felt were ruining his life. So you can stop your pleas with Black America. They won't work. Now, going back to the context of what you've asked us to speak about today, you know, I think one of the things that the world is recognizing and what we've always recognized is that there are radical fringe sects that break out within every single religion, amongst every race. There's white supremacy, there's black supremacy, there's radical Islam, there are all of these Christ cults around the world. And I think right now it's important for people to understand that radical Judaism is also a thing. And you're watching an example of it right now on your screen. The person sitting across from me or sitting next to me, I guess, it posted on his Facebook page in 2016 a tribute to someone who he said was his mentor. That was Rabbi Menachem Schneerson. He said he was his mentor and his friend. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Rabbi Schneerson, there were some Jews who believed that he was and is the Messiah. So rejecting Christ, but believing that that rabbi was his Messiah. Now, you may remember in the news recently, there was this radicalized faction of the Lubavitch Orthodox community in Brooklyn that were digging tunnels in Brooklyn and hurling benches at police officers. Well, and by the way, this is per the Times of Israel, that faction of individuals are followers of Rabbi Schneerson. So again, you have Rabbi Shmuley who believes that that's his mentor. They believe that he was the Messiah. What is it? It becomes important to understand, what did Rabbi Schneerson preach? Well, he preached Jewish supremacism, the hatred of all non-Jews. And you don't have to take my word for it, because if I said it, they would say that's anti-Semitism. You should instead take the word of the two Jewish professors who translated his work. Those authors' names were Israel Shahak and Norin Mezvinsky. And their book was entitled Jewish Fundamentalism in Israel. From that book, we learned that Shmuley's mentor, Schneerson, describes the difference between a Jew and a non-Jew. And he says, quote, "Thus, we do not have a case of profound change in which a person is merely on a superior level. The body of a Jewish person is of totally different quality from the body of all nations of the world." And he talks about the substance of the Jewish body versus the substance of non-Jews, saying that the inner quality, quote, is so different and so great that the body should be considered completely different species. So that is a belief. And you can go through his speeches and you will see that he continually talks about how non-Jews should be treated, and that, again, we are a different species. This is what Rabbi Shmuley believes in. We have to come to terms with the fact that there are Jewish radicals, and it's incumbent upon the Jewish community to call them out. I'm glad that you brought up my rhetoric about Black Lives Matter, the organization, and which was basically allowing Black criminals to take to the street to burn down, to loot, and to riot in the name of racism, because it shows that I'm.
Can we just take a second to look at Rabbi Shmuley? That's a great freeze frame for Candace too. Perfect. But that is like a perfect freeze frame for Candace. Listen, does anyone else look at Rabbi Shmuley and do you like the first thing that comes to my mind when I look at Rabbi Shmuley is I think he looks evil. I think you can tell a lot about people based on their appearance. And I'm not talking about whether or not they're fat or thin or they have the haircut you like or any of that. I'm not talking about that. There is a vibe that people give off. And I think we all intuitively know that we all know when we meet someone that has that vibe. He looks like a demon. He literally looks like what I would imagine Satan would look like if I believe that Satan was a real thing, which I don't. But like he has that energy. He looks like a fucking he looks like a devil. I mean, like, I just don't even know what to say about this. And so he looks like a goat man. He does. He just does. And maybe it's an unfortunate coincidence. Maybe it's just one of those things. But when I'm confronted with people that look like this, I'm kind of like, what's going on? Because I believe very strongly that our external reality will reflect our internal reality. You know? Yeah, you feel like you need a shower when you look at him. You feel like you need I feel like I need a shower after watching him. He looks like an evil fucking leprechaun. Bill, who is an actual Satanist, looks less demonic, because I have met Bill. I know what Bill looks like in person. Bill actually looks like a nice guy in person. Because he doesn't actually worship demons and all that stuff. That's not real. That's not real Satanism. Bill looks less demonic than Rabbi Shmuley does, by a significant degree. Isn't that funny?
On equal footing here, that across the board, I do not support supremacism, whether it's coming from my community or whether or not it is coming from yours. And I think the entire world is now paying attention and wondering what is going on in Israel. What is this government? Is this a radical fringe government? And many people are concluding that the answer to that question is yes.
Okay, those are the two opening statements.
And we're giving them all our money.
Rabbi Shmuley, let me ask you this. Where are we now with this war? Because it seems that the people inside Israel are now beginning to come after Prime Minister Netanyahu, angry that his mission to save the hostages is simply not working. We saw 6 more executed at the weekend. Obviously, that's on Hamas. But the relatives of other hostages are saying, for God's sake, bring back the hostages before it's too late. And there's no sign of any deal being done to do that. And there's a lot of pressure on Netanyahu. Is his mission statement failing?
Yes, I will answer that in just a moment. But Piers,
let me answer my own
your guest
question.
just called me mentally unhinged. She called me filth twice on your show.
What is that noise?
You did not just say to her, Candace, can you stop the ad hominem?
Is someone sitting in a room with a washing machine? Does everyone hear that? Is that just me? What the fuck is that noise?
Attacks? Did I ever say anything? I stuck to policy. Can you at least just be fair and say that's unnecessary, Candace, or is this too against law?
Well, no. You spent 4 minutes lacerating her.
Calling me mentally unhinged, is that
you're sitting there to defend that charge.
Is that ad hominem?
You spent 4 minutes attacking her personally. She's perfectly entitled
Piers,
to
with all
return
due respect, when one of your guests calls someone else filth, I think that you, as an English gentleman, should step in. But let me answer your question.
Oh my God!
No less. The only thing of Christ that Candace Owens has actually fulfilled comes from Matthew chapter 10, verse 35, where Jesus says, "I've come to separate and create conflict between a woman and her mother-in-law and father-in-law." My answer to your question about Gaza is that Lord Michael Farmer, a courageous British peer who happens to be Candace Owens' father-in-law, issued one of the most robust and beautiful defenses of Israel that any of us have read since October 7th. He said that, of course, there's a lot of terrible Palestinian casualties. God loves every Palestinian child as much as he loves a Jewish child. He said that Israel has no choice but to fight this war because Hamas hides in residential areas and under nurseries. He said that Israel, the savage...
Yes, Israel has no choice but to level every building in Gaza and kill all sorts of women and children, and to bomb people when they're getting food, and to bomb hospitals, and to bomb churches, and to bomb refugee camps. Israel has no choice in this matter. Israel, according to Israel and Rabbi Shmuley, are obligated to kill everyone, because you know what, guys? You know, Hamas is using every single person in Israel as human shields. They're all human shields. And so because they're all human shields, we can kill everyone with reckless fucking abandon. All right, guys, and we got time for a pop quiz in the chat. We have a retard in our chat with us. We are entering the land of retardia right now. We're just going to take a quick second to deal with the retard in our chat. Hi, James. Tell me you haven't been with us on the 3.5-year journey into the radical revolutionary far left without telling me. Guys, pop quiz in the chat. When leftists say whiteness, what do they actually mean? Yeah. Greetings, retard. Greetings, retard. We see you, retard. Pop quiz in the chat. You don't have to hear it from me, James. You're going to hear it from people in my chat. And maybe if you hear it from other people, you will put aside your fucking overinflated bullshit ego. You will actually come and listen to what real socialists have to say, what real leftists have to say, and maybe you'll learn a thing or two, James. When the left says whiteness, what do they mean? Whiteness means capitalism. It means capitalism. James is a retard that maybe should learn something. Whiteness means capitalism. Capitalism, according to the left, means private property ownership. Whiteness means capitalism, capitalism, capitalism. Whiteness is capitalism, capitalism, capitalism. Lots of people agree with me, James, and they've seen the left say this over and over again. Whiteness means capitalism. Capitalism, which is defined as private property ownership, specifically capitalism, capitalism, capitalism. Only retards, James, only retards don't know this. Whiteness means capitalism, capitalism. Whiteness means capitalism, capitalism, capitalism. Capitalism, capitalism, capitalism. Capitalism, capitalism, private property ownership. Whiteness is a reference to those who have benefited most from capitalism. White privilege means capitalist privilege. It means the privilege of owning private property. The system is capitalism. In whiteness is capitalism. Capitalism, 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 capitalism. See, James? You see? You know, James, how was Larry Elder considered to be the black face of white supremacy if whiteness was about skin color? Yep, whiteness means capitalism, capitalism, capitalism. Look at all those. James, oh, James, you're so stupid, James. You're so stupid. James, do you know that DEI is a low-level delivery mechanism for what we're telling you right now? Do you know that Nick Fuentes has presented exactly no argument against everything we're telling you right now? Bro, if you're not going to be here to be a contributing member, if you're just going to act like a retard in my chat, we're just going to remove you. We don't want people like you here, James. People like you. Here's the thing, James. Here's the thing. There is a 100 minimum IQ to be in my audience on this channel. And so when we allow retards like you in the chat, when you don't listen and you just shitpost and you don't make any sense and you don't actually bother to take the time to understand what the fuck you're talking about just because you're a bitter little boy with a small dick, probably in your mom's basement, people like low IQ retards like you bring down the entire IQ average of my channel. We just can't have that here, James. We just can't have that. You've now heard from dozens of members of this community exactly what this means. Yeah, and here's our retard. You're a leftist retard. Why won't you just say what I want you to say, Kelly? Why won't you just say what I want you to say? You're the retard. Hey, James, you just got banned. Goodbye. That was fun. That was fun. Yup, I'm the leftist. Yup. If you don't say what I want you to say, then you're the leftist. God, James was sounding a little Jewish there, wasn't he? Isn't that like a Jewish trick? Like, seriously? James was obviously a Jew. Coleman! His last name was fucking Coleman! Of course he's a Jew. What the fuck were we thinking? God, should have just banned him at the beginning. Jewish behavior, James. Jewish behavior.
Of October 7th demands a response. He said that Israel is doing exactly the right thing. And he said that he's doing all this in response to a, quote, high-profile member of his family. The contempt to not even mention his daughter-in-law, Candace Owens, because he didn't want to say her name. And he didn't even say, I love my daughter-in-law, but because the British remember Hitler, they remember the Battle of Britain, they remember the V-1 and V-2 rockets, Candace Owens has actually now said that the Nazis were the good guys and it was the allies, the British, people like yourself, Piers, who engaged in the ethnic cleansing of 12 million people based on some documentary she watched called The Savage Peace on the BBC, which wasn't even about the Allies. She always distorts. It was about the Czechoslovakia, a country that no longer even exists. And as far as what she said about Michael Jackson, putting me on enemies list, that is a total fabrication. It was invented by someone named Dieter Wietzner, who sued Michael Jackson for $64 million, tried to shake him down, and Michael had to pay him $4 million. I worked to save Michael's life. Candace Owens never met Michael Jackson. I was his rabbi for 2 years. I love him. I missed him. I tried to get him off of drugs. She said that I killed him. And talk about the contempt for people struggling with addiction, that she would say the Jews killed Michael Jackson. And with all due respect, Piers, you have not said that one of those things, that I'm a murderer, a man who doesn't have a speeding ticket, who doesn't have a parking ticket, is a murderer, and the police have to come and the FBI to protect me. Are you going to say...
Here's what I'm going to say to you, Rabbi Shmuley. Once again,
this guy?
You've just singularly failed to answer my question. So if you're just going to continue, every time I ask you a question about the war, which is the point of the debate, to just launch into Candace or her family or whatever, that's your decision. But in the interest of fairness, every time you speak for 3-4 minutes, well, hang on. I'm now going to let Candace respond. If you want to, Candace, look, it is obviously a matter of public record that your father-in-law, Lord Farmer, did post on X what he posted. He concluded by saying, I point out I'm the Christian Deputy Chair of the Council for Christians and Jews. This was founded in 1942 as a bulwark against anti-Semitism. I mean, do you want to say anything about what your father-in-law posted or anything else that Rabbi Shmuley just said?
Yeah, I'm grateful that he brought that up, and because it's very disturbing to me to see him try to pretend that my father-in-law distanced from me or said something in favor of anything that Rabbi Shmuley is saying. He would never do that. It is very important to understand that, you know, he does support Israel, and he has reaffirmed his support for Israel. And you can imagine that within any family, you have disagreements about things, but fundamentally, it's all love, you know, and it's good for us to have these conversations. Prior to him posting the statement, I had just gotten back from vacation with him. Literally 48 hours earlier, there was something incredibly demonic about a person trying to use the Bible at the beginning of his statement, as he did, trying to quote scripture and immediately following it up by trying to pull a family apart. I mean, that is utterly unholy. And I think the question of holiness and what is holy is relevant to this discussion. I think this is a conversation that a lot of people are having as well. Look, prior to October 7th, I don't think many people were engaged with what is happening in Israel. You know, we kind of all said the same thing. Israel is our friend and ally. I count myself among those people. Post October 7th, the world, and especially I would say Zionists in media, were demanding that we all pay attention. And when we began to pay attention, we didn't like what we saw. You cannot tell me to ever feel comfortable with 18,000 children being ruthlessly murdered. You can't get me to feel comfortable as a Christian with the amount of more explosives dropped, tons of explosives dropped on Gaza than were dropped in Hiroshima. This doesn't make sense to me. Gaza is 30 miles long, 7 miles wide. It's incredibly dense population. And this is, by the way, according to Haaretz, that 40,000 Palestinians have been murdered. I believe they're getting those numbers from the Gaza Health Ministry. And here's what I would like to say to you, Rabbi, since you're...
40,000 people. What was it on October 7th? 1,200 people? And that's a tragedy. And no one should diminish death. Now, what people do need to understand about October 7th is Israel, at least a portion of the people who died on October 7th were Israel killing their own people. And we know this because there was a report on antiwar.com. Hang on, I'm just going to pull this up. What is the name of that directive? Why can't I go to... What? No, I do want to go to antiwar.com. What is the name of that directive? The Hannibal Doctrine. Thank you. See, I knew you guys would know what I was talking about. Just in case people think I'm making this shit up. and I learned about this from Nick Fuentes. This is on antiwar.com. And I just think, just in case you haven't seen this, this is something people should see. Because I was pretty disgusted by this, if I'm honest about it. Because the thing that Israel has said over and like 1,200 people on October 7th, we have to kill everyone in Gaza. 1,200 people on October 7th. Okay. Report confirms Israel orders Hannibal directive during October 7th response. The directive means the Israeli military could use any means to prevent Israelis from being taken captive, even if it puts their life in danger. A report published by the Israeli newspaper Haaretz on Sunday, this was back in July, confirmed that the Israeli military implemented a secretive procedure known as the Hannibal Directive during the response to the October 7th Hamas attack on southern Israel. The directive allows Israeli forces to prevent Israelis from being taken hostage, even if that means putting their lives in danger. The directive had historically only applied to soldiers, but was also used on Israeli civilians during the October 7th response. What that means is Israel murdered their own people. Not just the military, they murdered their own civilians. Now, no one is saying that all the deaths on October 7th were caused by Israel killing their own civilians, but I think it absolutely does bear the question, how many of their own civilians did they kill? At 7:18 a.m. on the morning of October 7th, the IDF's Gaza division gave the order Hannibal at Erez and dispatch a Zeke unmanned assault drone. The order was given again just over 20 minutes later and several other times throughout the day in response to the attacks. They did this several times throughout the day. In one instance at a kibbutz, I'm not going to try to pronounce that, Israeli tanks shelled a house that contained Hamas militants and Israeli hostages, killing 13 Israeli civilians, including 12-year-old twins. A very senior IDF source told Haaretz about the Hannibal Directive, did not say who gave the initial order on October 7th, but it likely came from very far up the chain of command. According to the latest figures from Israel, a total of 1,163 Israelis were killed during the October 7th attack, including 767 civilians, 20 hostages, 376 members of the security forces. It is unclear how many of these casualties were due to Israeli fire. So I just want to show this to people in case, people haven't seen this, because I know I don't read antiwar.com every day. I check it out every once in a while. I didn't see this until Nick Fuentes talked about it on his show, and I was pretty fucking disgusted by this, particularly given the fact that what Israel keeps saying over and over and over again is 1,200 people, 1,200 people, 1,200 people. How many of those people did Israel kill itself? How many of its own civilians did Israel kill on October 7th? That's what I want the answer to. And why are we all continuing to give money to Israel and unequivocal support to Israel while they're murdering 40,000 plus people in Gaza, including women and children, and they say we're allowed to kill anyone we want in Gaza and the West Bank as well because they're all human shields for Hamas, and don't you dare fucking question us or you're an anti-Semite.
Quoting scripture, okay? The one that's relevant to me is woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness. And if you'd like to dive into a little more scripture, I think what's relevant is Revelation 3:9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. And I'm speaking directly to you, Rabbi Shmuley. The fact that you would try to say, I am Jewish and this is what I believe, and do and say the things that you are doing. People can see and hear evil, and what you are doing right now is an act of evil. The lies that you are telling, not just on me, but also on my family members, are a good example for the world to see what we are referring to when we call something radical Zionism.
Okay, Rabbi Shmuley.
Okay, and okay, thank you. And of course, Piers, there was nothing ad hominem about my being demonic. This is a 2 against 1 debate. I expected that.
It's not a 2 against 1 debate.
I will, excuse me, no,
debate.
it's a 2-against-1
You've
debate.
made no attempt to answer
Yes, Rabbi Shmuley is the victim in this situation, guys.
my
Wait,
questions.
no. Piers,
Candace,
let me
Candace
speak.
has been trying to answer my
Candace
questions.
just said,
You're not.
Candace, filth, demonic. There's nothing ad hominem about that. You are correct. You're right, Piers. Candace Owens just said that Israel dropped more bombs on Gaza than on Hiroshima. Hiroshima was an atomic bomb, Candace. You know, why don't you just read Wikipedia? Israel has nuclear weapons. They've never used them, so I have no idea what you're talking about. Now, let's look at Israel's justified defense. Israel admits, and even Hamas admits, to a 1-to-1 civilian to combatant ratio of civilian casualties, which is a tragedy. It shouldn't even be one. But remember, Hamas fires their rockets from nurseries. The United States and Afghanistan had a 4-to-1 ratio of civilians murdered for every one combatant. In the Korean War, it was 5-to-1. In Iraq, it was at least 2-to-1. Israel has the lowest per capita ratio of combatants to civilians. Candace should acknowledge that. That is what we call a fact.
But you should hang on. You should also acknowledge then that there is a unique demographic in Gaza where of the 2 million people who live there, half of them are under 18. So that's a very different demographic to any of the other scenarios you're talking about. That is what's caused so much international opprobrium against Israel, is the fact that so many children, pro rata in the civilian death count, have been killed. It's that people are so exercised about, and rightly, because what's happened here is obvious. Hamas, yes, they've embedded themselves in civilian territory. Yes, they built all these tunnels.
Wait. What? The DOJ is going after Lauren Chen? Where did you see that? What's going on with Lauren Chen? I'm sorry, what? Hey, thanks, Nick, for being a member of the channel for 23 months. I initially defended their response until hearing they killed some of their own people to justify slaughtering an entire people to claim victimhood. Yeah, for real. Check it out. It's all on. What is happening? You'll send it? Okay, thank you. What the fuck? Oh, for fuck's sake. Well, yeah, Lauren Chen is like, okay, low key. Lauren Chen is like a Nick Fuentes super fan. I'm completely convinced of this because I can see how many of my tweets about Nick Fuentes that Lauren Chen likes. She likes a lot. Like a lot. And Lauren Chen likes tweets that you wouldn't expect that she would like. Lauren Chen is a Nick Fuentes superfan. Tim Pool made a statement about it on Twitter. I can't see. Tim Pool has me blocked on Twitter because he's an asshole. Hang on. Even Tim Pool is implemented. Hang on. Let me just look at this real quick, guys. Hang on. We'll go back to the debate in a second. I need to catch up. My statement regarding allegations and the leaked DOJ indictment. Should these allegations prove true, I, as well as other personalities and commentators, were deceived and are victims. I cannot speak for anyone at the company as to what they do or to what they are instructed. The Culture War podcast is licensed by Tenet Media. It existed well before any license agreement with Tenet and will continue to exist after any such agreements. Blah, 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 blah. The Culture War is a separate company. Putin is so basically, okay, I'll look into this separately. I need to obviously spend some more time figuring out exactly what the hell's going on. Fun times. See, you know what, people? You know what? Sometimes people they say, Carlin, you're not relevant. No one listens to you. And I'm kind of like, yeah, good. You know what? I learned my lesson. After I got fucking audited for January 6th, and they went through literally years of my finances, and have any of you ever been audited? Because it fucking sucks. It fucking sucks. And I got audited because I was at January 6th, and I think I got audited because I was involved with Walkaway, and obviously Brandon was involved. And I learned my fucking lesson. I don't want to be relevant. I just want to be left alone. I just want to stay in my corner on the internet. I don't want to be relevant. I don't want to be part of it. No. The DOJ is saying Lauren Chen and her husband put together Tenet to launder money for Russia. What? Wow. Holy shit. Wow. Listen, man, mostly I don't actually care who wins the presidential election. Mostly I don't think it makes a difference. I don't think Trump is going to do anything about the issues that I care about. But the one and only thing that gives me pause about why I think that Trump would be better than Kamala Harris is that I do think that the DOJ is going to completely fucking... Let me look up Will Sommers' Twitter. Apparently Will Sommers is posting this. I do think that if Kamala gets in office, then a lot of stuff is like the government's going to be weaponized against people that I like Lauren Chen, like Nick Fuentes. I don't want to see things. I don't want to see the DOJ get weaponized against people I like. Okay, let's see. The indictment alleges that right-wing commentators like Dave Rubin, Benny Johnson, Tim Pool, and Lauren Southern, as a part of the Tenet Media YouTube channel, have been unwittingly working for a Russian influence operation. Oh, shit! I heard about this. I just didn't realize it was related to them. I heard that the Biden administration was doing something about Russian disinformation in the election. I had no idea this had to do with Tenet Media. Two people described in the Tenet Media indictment as unnamed founders were very aware their operations were funded by Russians. Tenet Business Records lists Tenet founders as Blaze TV host and TPUSA contributor Lauren Chen, aka Roaming Millennial, and her husband. Funny moment in the Tenet indictments, a Tenet founder who would have told YouTubers their funding is coming from a Western European businessman emails the investor for more money. When no one responds, Tenet's founder drops the pretense in Google's time in Moscow. Let's see what this says. Founder 2 also used investor Discord channel to, among other things, submit U.S. Company 1's invoices to Persona 1 and to press for payment on those invoices. For example, on or about September 11th, 2023, Founder 2 wrote in the investor Discord channel, "Today marks 2 weeks since I submitted the invoices for August. Any idea for the delay? We are signing the large contracts and will need to be certain we will get the funding to pay these people." Persona 1 did not immediately respond. While awaiting a reply from Persona 1, Founder 1 searched the then current time in Moscow, specifically approximately 8:50 p.m. Central Time on or about September 11th. Founder 1 searched time in Moscow. The time, in fact, was like, why is that funny? What? I don't understand. Tim Pool says he didn't know Tenet was a Russian operation, says he's made a victim. A commentator in the indictment who appears to be Pool made $100,000 per episode? He makes $100,000 per episode? Fuck, maybe I do want to be relevant. Maybe I do want to be relevant after all. You know, it's a constant thing in my mind, because if I were trying to be relevant and if I were trying to make as much money as possible, I would have to operate completely differently than I'm operating now. I would have to be nice to people. I would have to stop calling out people on their bullshit. But $100,000 per episode, and his show sucks. It's not even a good show. You could go on so many vacations. I could take that cruise to Antarctica that I want to take. God damn. A good reason why socialism, communism is the biggest threat to capitalism in America, because Islam is not. It's why U.S. is friends with Islamic countries. Hey, thank you, Andre. I do appreciate it. Hey, now we're sending in the super chats. Yeah, everyone send me super chats so I don't have to sell my soul to make $100,000 per episode. Is this convenient? As Tim Pool announced yesterday, he is taking legal action against Kamala Harris' campaign for defamation. Yep, I don't believe that Tim Pool is actually going to sue Kamala Harris this campaign. I don't believe that at all. Hey, we're up to $30 an episode. Just, $99,000 left to go. His show does suck. Here's to grassroots. Yeah, everyone get me to 100K. Sign up for my Substack, carlin.substack.com. Buy my merch. Please help me to not sell my soul. Yeah, I'm way back. I have a Russian name. Where's my $100,000? I have a Russian name, God damn it. All right, let's get back to it. Let's get back to I'm just gonna sit here and cry quietly. That's it. I'm just gonna cry quietly over the fact that Tim Pool makes $100,000 per episode. What the fuck?
None of these things are to be disputed. But the problem with going after Hamas in the way that Israel has been doing is that the collateral damage, as they would put it, to so many thousands of children has now tested the patience of the world to a degree that vast quantities of the world are against it and want this to stop. That's the reality.
I think that's a very fair question. And I don't like whataboutism. But Candace Owens never spoke out once against Bashar al-Assad, who killed 600,000 Arabs, and he actually gassed to death children. He targeted them with mustard and poison gas. You remember that President Obama said that's a red line, and then he gave it to Putin to get rid of those weapons of mass destruction. God bless President Trump, who actually wait, just a second. President Trump, God bless him, actually fired 59 cruise missiles when Assad did that. It's funny because people say that President Trump is anti-Muslim. He's the only one who protected Muslim life. Piers, Hamas has ruled since 2006. They won an election jointly with the PA. They took the Palestinian Authority representatives and threw them off of rooftops. They then subjected the Palestinians, 1.5 million Palestinians of Gaza, to the most ruthless persecution that we've ever seen. They stole all their money. Ismail Haniyeh, who was assassinated in Tehran, is worth $4 billion. Now he's fighting with Erdogan and his kids over who's going to inherit.
Can some foreign power please pay me? I'll work for Iran. I'll work for Russia. Yeah, thanks, Nick. I appreciate it.
That Khalid Mashal is worth $3 billion. You and I both know that the Palestinians of Gaza got triple the amount per capita, prorated for our times, of the Marshall Plan. All of that money was stolen to build tunnels. There isn't one bomb shelter. The reason why people are dying in Gaza is because that money was used to buy penthouses in Doha, Qatar. There isn't one bomb shelter from Hamas. Hamas shoots and murders anyone who challenges their authority. They were elected in 2006 to a 4-year term. It's now 20 years later. Hamas specifically, and that's why they're being condemned by the Palestinians right now. They want Palestinian children to die because the more they die, the more you will condemn me and Israel. But let's remember, Piers, your parents are part of the greatest generation. Winston Churchill was told by the Americans, don't bomb German cities, Hamburg, Dresden, etc. at night. You can't see what you're bombing. Do what we Americans have, which is precision daytime bombing. And Churchill said, no, my pilots are more important. We need the RAF.
All right.
And he flattened German cities. And he is considered today the greatest British statesman of the 20th century.
By the way, the flattening of cities like Dresden was widely condemned at the time, including by many people in Britain, and led to the establishment of the Geneva Convention.
Dresden was the last month of the war, but before that, Hamburg and everything else was not condemned.
It led to the establishment of the Geneva Convention after World War II, specifically to stop that kind of thing happening again. So I'm glad you raised that example. Candace, you've got over 3 minutes.
So do you condemn Winston Churchill as a war criminal for Dresden?
No, absolutely not. No.
Why not? You just said that it was
Yeah, I
wrong.
actually
Do
was
you
going to-
condemn
I was
Winston
actually going to
Churchill
say the
as a
exact
war
same
criminal for
thing.
Dresden?
Well,
Please, you said
okay,
not, but
Well,
why?
if you're
I
both going to
think
ask me the
you've had a
same
lot of
question,
time
let
to
me be
speak.
clear. Winston Churchill was
Yeah.
not a war criminal, right? But some of the ways that
Why not? He
because
bombed Dresden and killed 25,000 people.
yeah, he also saved the world from Adolf Hitler and the Nazis.
Oh, he saved the world. So Israel's saving the Middle East from Hamas, Islamic Jihad, Iran.
But it's not, though.
Hezbollah.
Israel's not
Thank
doing
you.
that.
Thank you for answering my question.
That was so beautiful. That was Shmuley was like, so Israel's saving the Middle East, and Piers Morgan's like, no, it's actually not though. Can we just watch that again? That was great. That was everything. Piers Morgan, it's 20 minutes into this interview. Piers Morgan's like, I'm already sick of your shit.
Oh, he saved the world. So Israel's saving the Middle East from Hamas, Islamic Jihad, Iran.
But it's not, though.
Hezbollah.
Israel's not doing that.
Thank you for answering my question.
Well,
Case closed.
All right, let me go to Candace.
If I could just interject here, just to respond to that, I was going to say exactly what you said, Piers. Like, Dresden was considered a Holocaust. It was, in fact, a war crime. And there should be debates about what happened in Dresden. It was absolutely horrific that a bunch of Christians were skipping off, on the eve of Ash Wednesday. And then they were quite literally reduced to ashes. It is wrong. And the fact that you are having to reference a war crime to justify what's happening in Gaza is not a point for you. It's completely awful. When people say, oh, well, look at what we did. Look at all these other horrific things we did. Why do you care about this horrible thing that's happening? I don't even understand that logic. It's completely ridiculous. Look, there is no person in good conscience who should be comfortable with the amount of death that's happening in Gaza. And yes, if you are going to correlate it to Dresden, that would be a fair comparison, except much more has been.
True. I don't understand. Like, this is one of the things that just really bothers me about this whole thing. How people who are on Israel's side are so fucking comfortable with the amount of carnage that has taken place in Gaza. It doesn't even faze them. They don't care. They don't think there's anything wrong with it. And it's like, yo, even if you put yourself in the position of saying, I think Israel has the right to defend themselves and Israel is our greatest ally and we should give Israel all our money. Like, even if that is your legitimate position, how the ever-loving F can you justify the 40,000 people dead? Most of those people are women and children. The entire Gaza Strip leveled. They are never going back. This entire population is being displaced. They are never going back. It's never going to be rebuilt. Israel's going to come in, they're going to take that land, and they're going to make some beachfront fucking property. That's what this is about. That's what this has always been about. And the fact that people will look at you with a straight face and say, Carlin, all those 40,000 people needed to die because they were human shields. They were human shields. And they're just indoctrinated to be terrorists, Carlin. We had to wipe them all out. I'm like, you're literally advocating for a fucking genocide. You are evil. It is evil. And I don't know how people can't see this. It was so obvious from the beginning that what this was never about self-defense. This was always about taking that land because it's beachfront property and Israel wants it and they want the Palestinians gone and they're going to send those refugees to whatever country that will take them. They're trying to push them into Egypt. They're going to end up sending them to the U.S. This is going to end up being our fucking problem. But no. It's totally cool. I mean, I don't get it. Israel is our greatest ally. Yeah, okay.
Dropped on Gaza than was dropped in Dresden. So is it fair to call what's happening in Gaza a Holocaust? Is that what we're looking after when you have this nonstop onslaught? And it's completely ridiculous to say, oh, well, this is happening because of Hamas. Let's be very clear. It is happening because the Israeli government will not stop bombing them. Okay.
True.
So you had a very sympathetic audience all around the world, myself included, when October 7th happened. There was not a single person that should or could justify the terrorist acts that was enacted by Hamas. But the collective punishment that is being assigned to the Gazans, the Palestinians living in Gaza, is also unacceptable. And the entire world should condemn it, and it should be made to stop. And I do believe that a radical fringe has taken hold of Israel. And further evidence of that, by the way, is that we are not even allowed to critique Israel without having people like Rabbi Shmuley, which I never said he threatened to murder me, but he has threatened me for 2 years, essentially trying to bully people into their belief that they have a right.
You never said that I threatened to murder you? We're going to post
No,
every
I never
time
said
you
that you threatened to murder me. Don't cut me off. I did not cut you off.
Okay, I will not cut you off. Go ahead, please.
I did not cut you off. Okay. The point is that now what's happening across America is that you have Zionist organizations that are threatening and bullying people because people are taking a stance against this act against humanity. What they're doing is inhumane in Palestine. And so what they're doing is they're saying this person should get fired. This person should lose their job. The Zionist Federation of Australia just asked for me to have my visa banned simply because I don't support what Israel is doing. And if that is what I have to pay, if ultimately what happens, I get my visa banned because Zionism has a lot of money in media, then so be it. It's less of a price than the children in Gaza are paying right now. And as a Christian, I will never support what Bibi Netanyahu is doing.
Right, and what's interesting to me, Rabbi Shmuley,
may I
well,
respond?
hang on.
May I respond?
Yes, but let me just say again the question I put to you earlier. It's not just people outside Israel who are now heavily criticizing Netanyahu and his government. It is people inside Israel in massive numbers. And so my question for you is, why? Why are so many people...
There was a massive protest in Israel the other day. Now, and you have to acknowledge that. Listen, you have to acknowledge that. There are many people in Israel who are like, this all needs to stop. What the fuck?
People inside Israel taking to the streets to demand that Netanyahu stop this war.
No, they never said he should stop the war.
Yes,
they said
did.
there should be a ceasefire to release the hostages because Israel is a cult. Don't interrupt me, please, Candace. Because Israel is a culture of life, and that's why Israel got into this mess for October 7th.
Israel's a culture.
They traded 1,000
life.
Murderers, including Yahya Sinwar, who Israel saved at Soroka Hospital in Beersheba when he had a brain tumor.
A
the
culture
Hamas Hitler,
of
who's
life.
the architect of October 7th, Israel saved his life. It's a culture of life, even for Palestinian murderers. They traded 1,000 for Gilad Shalit. You remember that. And now a whole group.
Israel is a culture of life. Is it considered to be a culture of life when you're literally defending rape? Because that's going on in Israel. People know that, right? There were Israeli soldiers that were caught on video raping Palestinian prisoners. Caught on video. That one of those soldiers who revealed his identity is now being paraded around Israel as a hero. There were protests in favor of their right to rape. Literally. And you're going to tell me that's a culture of life? That's one of the most disgusting things I've ever fucking heard in my life. Of all the things that I've seen that I can't unsee, it's the protests in favor of rape. It is the literal video of IDF soldiers raping Palestinian captives. I can't unsee that shit. It is the parading around of these people as though they are heroes when they are not. Even my dog doesn't like it.
Is saying, even if it leads to another October 7th, I need my children home. I understand that. Piers, I have 2 sons fighting in this war. I understand the dangers that are being faced. No one's saying to stop the war, not to destroy Hamas. They're saying...
Yeah, they debated the legitimacy of rape on the Knesset floor. Don't tell me this is fucking normal. Don't tell me this is acceptable.
Call a ceasefire to release the hostages because of their execution. But I must respond. First of all, Candace just said that Israel dropped more bombs on Gaza than on Dresden. What's your source for that? Do you know that in Dresden, there were 1,000 Lancaster bombers sent over 2 nights by Churchill, and then 800 American, that's 1,800 bombs. What's your source that Israel dropped more than on Dresden?
So it's just interesting because you realize that you used Dresden as an example.
No. Answer the question. You just made Piers. This is deflection.
I said more tons
you
of
said that Israel. You just made a blood libel against the Jewish state.
What?
Dresden
we
was
can't keep doing
1,000
this.
Lancaster bombs.
What What? What? You made a blood libel against the Jewish state for stating a fact? Look at Candace's face right there. That's a glorious freeze frame. Again? What was that, Rabbi Shmuley? Again? Blood libel. God damn.
Do you know that in Dresden, there were 1,000 Lancaster bombers sent?
Hang on. Raid Nation, thank you for the super chat. Rape of non-Jews is supported in the Talmud, along with many other horrific things. Yeah, we're going to be doing deep dives. As a reminder, guys, we're going to be doing some deep dives into the Talmud coming up on my Rumble channel, stuff I can't do on YouTube. But if you subscribe to my Rumble channel, rumble.com/Carlin, I think there's a link in the description below. Come and join us, and we will be learning about the Talmud on my other show, Something Controversial, and I hope I see you there.
Over 2 nights by Churchill, and then 800 American, that's 1,800 bombs. What's your source that Israel dropped more than in Dresden?
So it's just interesting because you realize that you used Dresden as an example.
No. Answer the question. You just made Piers. This is deflection.
I said more tons
you
of
said that Israel. You just made a blood libel against the Jewish state.
Blood libel.
Dresden
We
was
can't keep doing
1,000
this.
Lancaster bombers over 2 nights. I am asking you, what is your source?
This is getting very boring.
The answer. Okay, don't interrupt me, please. The answer is the Piers. It's my turn. Correct. Piers.
Rabbi Shmuley, you can't ask someone a question and then refuse to let them answer.
So I asked for a source. I didn't ask for a deflection. Go ahead. What's the source?
It is absolutely absurd.
Candace.
I'm going to respond to what you are saying. This tactic of when anybody brings up anything that Israel is doing is wrong, you get to just scream blood libel and anti-Semitism.
Don't interrupt her.
Oh my gosh, it's a blood libel. It is not a blood libel to talk about the amount of death and the tons of explosives that have been dropped on the civilians in Palestine, okay? That is not a blood libel against Jewish people.
This
is such a nasty and perverted tactic,
what is your source?
Which essentially says, I don't have to debate anymore because I get to just call everybody a person who's accusing me of blood libels. Okay, truly, what is happening right now is that the blood of Palestinians is being shed. Okay, that is not a libel against the Jews. That is a fact and a reality against Bibi Netanyahu and this government, which has gone extreme in their response to October 7th. So stop this tactic.
Understood. Piers, can I now have my turn again? All I asked was the source. Clearly, she had.
All right, guys, I'm going to go get some more tea. I will be right back. Let me know if I miss anything. I'm going to let it play while I'm gone.
Has none. It was invented out of whole cloth. That's what a blood libel is. A blood libel is when Candace Owens says that the actual medieval blood libel, that Jews killed Christians and drank their blood.
I will pull up the source for you.
Believes that. She's please don't interrupt me.
I will find you the source.
Says that there were Christian bodies found all over Europe. When she said that I am not trying to kill her, we will post right after this, where she said it at least on 8 occasions. That's why she's being investigated by the FBI. Because you can lie about me, you can call me filth, and Piers won't, and you can call me psychotic. I've never said that about you. But what you can't do is incite violence against my family. You have repeatedly said I'm trying to kill you. You said the Jews killed JFK. You said if the Jews killed JFK,
you said all this earlier.
We couldn't protect the president. Okay, wait one second.
Can we get back to the debate
for a moment? No, wait. Let's just go back for a moment. No, Piers, I have to respond to things.
Would you like a source?
When Candace says it is demonic.
You wanted the source from Candace.
I never got. I never got between.
Rabbi Shmuley, you wanted the source from Candace. I think she has one. Well, why don't you let her answer? I think she has one.
Let me fact check this source as well. So 70,000
Yes, I want to see where Israel dropped more bombs on Gaza than Dresden.
70,000 tons of explosive have been dropped on the Gaza Strip. Let's see how many tons of explosives were dropped on Dresden. 1 second.
You mean she said it and now she's fact-checking it? You're kidding me, right?
Well, you're asking me to give you the direct source live, and I'm going to look it up for you.
I don't have a computer on me. I don't have a computer on me. This is ridiculous.
Let her finish.
This is a cheat
sheet.
This is absurd.
Are you shitting me?
Let her answer the question.
Go ahead.
Wow.
Candace.
So 2,700 tons of bombs were dropped on Dresden in an 800 bomber air raid. And that is according to Britannica, the encyclopedia.
And what was the tonnage of bombs dropped in Gaza?
in Gaza, it was 70,000 tons of explosives were dropped in the Gaza Strip, and I got that from CNN.
Through the duration of the war to date,
Okay.
is that the time scale?
Yes.
Okay. So Rabbi Shmuley,
which
that would
they're
seem to
saying
be
has surpassed
So let's be clear.
Dresden,
So over
Hamburg, and
11
London during
months,
World
she's comparing an 11-month war to a single night.
So 35 times as many tons have been dropped on Gaza as were dropped on Dresden. Wow. But remember, guys, Israel is just defending itself. This is purely self-defense. That's all this is, because Israel is defending itself, and it doesn't matter. Israel can drop as many tons of bombs as it wants. It's just defending itself.
In Dresden, that's clearly absurd. I'm glad that she has her cheat sheet, her computer in front of her. But notice, she made this
you called it a
statement
blood libel.
not knowing what she was talking
what
about.
she
Just a
said.
moment, please.
Hang on. What she said, to be clear, was that the Israeli.
It's also in the New York Times.
The Israeli Defense Force.
This is the culture of life that is Israel. 35 times as many tons of bombs in Gaza as were in Dresden. Culture of life, indeed.
Dropped more bombs on Gaza than were dropped on Dresden. That is true. Do you accept that, Rabbi Shmuley?
You know, Piers, I find
Would you
this an
accept it?
astonishing
Can't say
debate.
yes
You
or no.
asked-
Just say yes or no.
First of
Do you
all,
accept that?
Just say yes or
first of all,
no.
I don't. Wait. What do you mean it's true? Because she said it's true?
No, do you accept
Oh
that's
my
true?
God.
The New York
Is
Times
this
says it's
is this
true.
a serious show? Wait. Every time I
You
try to
asked
speak,
for a source. You
stop
called
me.
it a blood
She
libel. You
made-
asked for
she
a
made
source.
a
Fortunately, we
she
had time to
made
look
a-
it up.
She made. Excuse me, you are interrupting me. She made a definitive statement. She admitted she had no source. She had to then use her computer. It's absurd
I
that she
didn't
has
say
a
I had no
computer
source.
during
I
this
just said I
debate.
had to look it up.
right.
Because she had to look it up. One second.
But she was
now
right.
she's saying that over an 11-month war. No, we don't know that she's right because your fact checkers haven't checked it, and my fact checkers haven't checked it. But let's just go back for a moment.
Wow.
Israel was attacked in the most savage way, and women were gang raped, their breasts were cut off. Candace recently had a guest on who even denies
I don't even believe
that
that.
women were raped. Now she's saying it's in the New York
I
Times.
don't even believe that. I don't believe a fucking word that comes out of Israel. Like, and that really pisses me off. Once Israel got debunked for the 40 beheaded babies bullshit, and it is, you have to view every single thing that comes out of that country with absolute fucking suspicion. It's like they released this photo that had all this blood in it, but it was dried blood on things where the blood was bright red, but blood doesn't dry bright red. Blood dries brown. But there's this photo with this dried red blood everywhere, and it's like, that's not the color of dried blood. So why am I looking at a photo where you guys are saying this is dried blood when that's not the color of dried blood? It's like every single thing you have to question. Every single time. They're doing these elaborate things like, look, guys, look, we found the tunnels. We found the secret tunnels where Hamas is. We found the tunnels. Okay, genius. No one actually ever questioned whether or not there were tunnels. The thing that we questioned is every single person living in Gaza a human shield? Because there's no evidence for that. There's literally no evidence for that. It's mind-boggling. Well, listen. No. Those are two separate things. Candace Owens does not respect Nick Fuentes, and Nick Fuentes should not ever trust Candace Owens as far as he can throw her. And it doesn't matter if Candace Owens occasionally gets something right. It doesn't matter if Candace Owens has a positive debate performance against someone who is an abject psycho. Doesn't matter.
She said the other day that the New York Times lied and fabricated about the mass rape of women. She had the former press secretary of Bernie Sanders who denies that. Now she suddenly likes the New York Times. You are speaking to the #1 critic of the New York Times in America. And by the way, this is a typical thing. Candace will say there's no racism in America. Then she will sue, which she did, the Stanford, Connecticut Board of Education for a $40,000 settlement against racism. She then went on a show and fabricated and said it wasn't a settlement. It was actually for tutors for 1 month. You tell me which tutors are paid $40,000 per month. She will say that I have no right to bring up her family. First of all, I didn't. It was her own father-in-law who condemned her. But she can bring up Brigitte Macron. She can bring up Emmanuel. She can destroy their marriage. Obsess, and you were very good on that, Piers, challenging her. She can destroy other people's marriages. And you know what's also interesting?
How is their marriage destroyed? How is
there?
Did Macron divorce his tranny wife? Did I miss that part? How is Macron's marriage destroyed? Aren't they still married? Like, Macron's marriage is weird. Like, I don't like, you know, like I guess I don't actually think his wife is a tranny. I don't like, she kind of looks like a man. I don't actually think his wife is a tranny. It's just a joke, all right? But, like, they're still married. So how did Candace destroy their marriage? Well, she's not trans. She just looks like a man. She really does. She looks like a man. And she's significantly older than him. And she groomed him when she was his teacher. And it's really weird. She does look like, see, Yasmin is a black trans person. So now that Yasmin has said that his wife looks trans, we're all allowed to say it. Yasmin has given us a tranny pass.
One final point. The day after October 7th, she said nothing for a few days, never condemned it.
Yeah.
And when you asked her on the show, she said, Piers, I never talk about anything international. Is Brigitte Macron an American?
But
so
you
she
just
can speak about the genitals of the First Lady of France for months, but not condemn the gang rape of Jewish women?
I've already said to Candace, I don't believe a word of the Brigitte Macron thing. What I would say about what you've just quoted Lord Farmer as saying, you said that he condemned Candace in the statement he put on X. He didn't condemn her. I've just read it again, and there's no condemnation of his daughter-in-law. He simply set
You're
out...
kidding. Read the first line. Read the first line.
In view of public
line,
comments from a high-profile member of my family, I want to put my own views on anti-Semitism and Israel's current military campaign in Gaza on public record. Where's the condemnation?
Thank you very much.
Candace?
Thank you.
So where's the condemnation?
Thank you. So let's get the timeline. Candace says she was on vacation
Where did he condemn
with her father-in-law 2 days before. Wait,
Where
just
did he condemn her?
You and I can read between the lines on any press statement.
I'm not reading between the lines.
Hey guys, we're about halfway through. We're a little over halfway through this video. Can I just remind everyone, if you're watching on YouTube, please mount the like button for me. We have a pitiful amount of likes right now compared to the number of people watching. Could everyone just take 1 second, mount the like button? You can make out with the like button. You can high five the like button. You can smack the like button on the ass. You can bend the like button over something and fuck it. I don't really care what you do to the like button. It's none of my business. You can fantasize about the like button. You can tie the like button up. You can do whatever you want to just do something to the like button, please. This is a pitiful display. There is a huge discrepancy between the number of people watching and the number of people who have done something with the like button. All right? Thank you. I appreciate it.
She says, in view of a high profile.
I've just shown you he didn't condemn her.
He absolutely condemned her.
No, he didn't.
He doesn't once say, it's my daughter-in-law, Candace, and I love her, but we disagree. Number two, he went on to say that Israel has every right. He was distancing himself for her repulsive future and reptilian anti-Semitism.
He gave his own opinion.
Why did he start by saying, in light of a high-profile member of my family?
He gave his own opinion. He didn't condemn her and didn't even name her.
He distanced himself from Candace.
Let me ask Candace a different question, which is this. Candace, why is it, do you think, that so many people in the Jewish community believe that you are anti-Semitic?
I think that's actually a very good question. And just to go back, I'm going to answer your question. I just want to make sure people are recognizing, because he said a lot of stuff there. He's not able to counter. He essentially tried to hold me to looking up the sources. We've now found the sources, and it's the BBC, it's the New York Times, and it is the Euromed Human Rights Monitor.
We have found no sources.
We're slowly watching Piers Morgan become anti-Semitic in real time. Piers Morgan may not have been anti-Semitic before this debate, but Piers Morgan is just, he's like maybe 20% more anti-Semitic than he was before.
Fact check it afterward. You looked it up during the show. I'm sorry.
Bombs were dropped on Gaza, and per the BBC, the British aircraft dropped 4,000 tons of bombs on Dresden. So just for clarity,
in a single night, not 11 months. In a single night, correct.
Please don't cut me off. I have not cut you off. He called that a blood libel because that is a strategy, which is meant to just distract people from the truth or looking into it. So you say everything you say is a blood libel. Now, to answer your question, Piers, I think that's a very good question. And the answer for that is because the media as an entity has been basically mining Jewish pain, the history of their pain, by taking people out of context and presenting things that are as a fact that is simply untrue, things that I've never said. We are watching right now, and that's why I'm grateful for you to provide this opportunity. You are watching Rabbi Shmuley do this live, right? When we talk about yellow journalism and people that take things out of context and try to present it to people with a bunch of hysteria and go, oh my gosh, Candace said this. Oh my gosh, Candace is a Holocaust denier. Oh my gosh, he's called me all of these names, and he doesn't have a single fact in there. They just know that if they say those things, it's a trigger. It is reminiscent of exactly what was done for Black Americans for a very long time. They have now since changed their perspective on me, but for a long time, they thought that I legitimately hated being Black and hated the color of my skin because I stood against Black Lives Matter as an organization, and I stood against what Black Lives Matter was doing. And the media made them hysterical. She's a Black person who doesn't even want to be Black, and she's a Black white supremacist. They bought that narrative because when the media lies, a lot of people accept that what they're reading is true. But of course, I didn't hate Black Americans. I didn't hate anything other than BLM abusing and mining Black pain, going back and saying, well, it's going to be just like slavery, to distract people from what was ultimately just a fraudulent organization that was actually going to bring more harms to Black Americans in the end. And that's how I feel about the state of Israel and everything they're doing. Ultimately, I believe it's going to yield more anti-Semitism. It's going to make people associate what Bibi Netanyahu is doing to all Jews around the world. And so I think it's important for them to realize it's these same exact tactics of manipulation, the same exact name calling and ad hominem attacks that is not based in fact and not based in reality, but based in not wanting to answer the fair critiques that people have about what Israel is doing. But that's a very good question.
Okay, Rabbi Shmuley, I mean, there's some validity to that argument, I think, is that...
Hang on. Fascist New World Order over on Rumble says he can't comment on YouTube. That's bullshit, bro, because I unbanned everyone on my YouTube channel over the weekend. So you absolutely should be able to comment over here. You probably always could comment over here. You're just having a hissy fit because you don't like some of the things I say sometimes. But I unbanned everyone on my YouTube channel. The only people who've been rebanned are the people who've been dicks in the chat. So if you've been a dick in the chat, if you've insulted me in the chat, you probably will have gotten banned. But everyone should be able to comment on the YouTube channel.
Too often, I do see people immediately branded anti-Semitic if they dare to criticize the Israeli government. But there's a very big difference between criticizing a government and its actions and a whole people, which is what anti-Semitism is. And do you accept that difference?
The beauty of Israel is it's a democracy. You just said that hundreds of thousands of people are marching against Benjamin Netanyahu. I welcome those protests. It shows that even during war, listen, in 1864, the United States had a presidential election. Some people wanted to cancel it, saying that how could you elect Lincoln when there's a civil war? And they still had the election. Israel's the same. Let's just go through Candace Owens' history of anti-Semitism.
Well, hang on.
That is utterly unconnected.
I will let you do that. I will let you do that, and she can respond. But on my specific point, though, do you accept that it's perfectly possible, and indeed it should be in a robust democratic society, a central tenet of this, that Israel's government and its prime minister should be criticized by anyone who chooses to criticize them, without the people who criticize them being branded anti-Semitic?
Of course. I am a very close friend of Netanyahu, and I criticize him allowing Qatar. Qatar is one of the most duplicitous, evil governments in the world. They house all of the leaders, the billionaire leaders of Hamas. I criticize Benjamin Netanyahu, my dear friend, for allowing money to go into Hamas in the belief that they can be bought off. I criticize the Israeli government for not recognizing the Armenian genocide, something that Candace Owens blames the Jews. She actually says that Kemal Ataturk was led by the Jews to the Armenian genocide. By the way, the Armenian genocide took place under the Ottoman Turks, not Kemal Ataturk. She has no sense of history, and she just fabricates constantly. But let's just look for one moment.
Okay, on the specific
wait one second. But let's go through her history of anti-Semitism, please.
Yes, you said you had specifics of Candace Owens being anti-Semitic.
I will. Yes,
anti-Semitic. What are those examples?
Okay. You see, the Jewish community did not want Candace Owens to be anti-Semitic. This is actually a tragedy that a woman gifted by God with such eloquence has decided to become a purveyor of hate. And when she said in 2018 that she has no issue with Hitler because if he was a nationalist, but then he wanted to go beyond our borders. Even then, we didn't call her an anti-Semite. That's an absurd thing to say, that you had no issue with Hitler. Hitler, even domestically by then, had enacted all the Nuremberg laws. There was already the November 9th, 1938 pogrom.
Hang on. Okay, just to clarify, let's take these one at a time. What do you believe she said about Adolf Hitler in the clip you're talking about?
She said that there was no issue with Hitler except for the fact that he went beyond his borders. If he was a nationalist,
let's play the clip.
Let me play the clip. But my point is, no one called her.
In the interest of fairness, I'm going to play the clip so that viewers who've never heard it can hear what actually got said.
Yeah, I agree. I actually don't have any problems at all with the word nationalism. I think that it gets, the definition gets poisoned by elitists that actually want globalism. Globalism is what I don't want. So when you think about, whenever we say nationalism, the first thing people think about, at least in America, is Hitler. You know, he was a National Socialist, but if Hitler just wanted to make Germany great and have things run well, okay, fine. The problem is that he had dreams outside of Germany. He wanted to globalize. He wanted everybody to be German, everybody to be speaking German, everybody to look a different way. That's not, to me, that's not nationalism. So in thinking about how it could go bad down the line, I don't really have an issue with nationalism. I really don't. I think that it's okay. It's important to retain your country's identity and to make sure that what's happening here, which I think is incredibly worrisome in terms of the decrease in the birth rate that we're seeing in the UK, is what you kind of want to avoid. So I don't have anything I have no problems with nationalism. It's globalism that I try to avoid.
So, Candace, on that specific point, would you say that Rabbi Shmuley has categorized it correctly or not?
He's just openly lying, and that's why he didn't want you to play the clip. I was in the UK, by the way. I was at the Royal Automobile Club. There were Jewish journalists in the room, and nothing was written about it until months later when somebody was working on a hit piece about me. I was answering a question when they were saying, how can we just embrace the word nationalism when it sort of has this dirty feel? And I was just essentially saying that I actually don't have an issue with nationalism. I think it's totally fine to be a British nationalist, to be an American nationalist. And the problem is that it's wrongly attributed. That word, I think people instantly associate it with Adolf Hitler. And I would argue that he wasn't actually a nationalist because obviously he invaded Poland and he went beyond German borders. I didn't even mention Jewish people. I didn't mention the Holocaust. And suddenly you have people like Rabbi Shmuley who are pretending that I got up there and I defended Adolf Hitler. It's just, this isn't
That
good
is not
business.
what you said.
And this is why I say
we just watched
right
the clip.
now, please don't cut me off. Please do not cut me off. A huge issue that you have right now is this dishonesty. If you really want to understand why Israel is facing a PR crisis, why Zionism right now to people doesn't feel good and they don't want to associate themselves with it, is because it seems like it takes so many lies to maintain. There's no reason to misrepresent what I said and to tell people that I support Adolf.
Hey, thank you, Rain Nation, for the super chat. We're on our way to that $100,000 per episode goal that apparently Tim Pool makes. Okay, we don't quite actually. That's not a real goal. It's just for pretend. Okay, but appreciate the super chat. Candace against globalism, but is in UK taking Turning Point Global. Am I the only one who sees the irony? Like I said, Candace Owens is about Candace Owens. She is only about Candace Owens. She is always about Candace Owens. That is who Candace Owens serves and no one else. And if anyone expects Candace to be consistent and principled, they will be disappointed.
Adolf Hitler, other than the fact that you want people to hate me. And so I'm deeply appreciative of the fact that you guys have that clip ready to go.
Well, you may respond to what you just said and to that clip. Now you've watched it.
Okay. She keeps on saying lying. I never said you shouldn't play the clip. I'm actually happy you did. She said if Hitler had only focused on domestic policy, she would have had no issue with him. His domestic policy was to the Kristallnacht, burned down 3,000 synagogues in a single night domestically. That was not in Poland. That was not in Czechoslovakia. His domestic policy was the 1934 Nuremberg laws. His domestic policy was a complete dictatorship where he destroyed the Bundestag and subjected and created Dachau under Himmler. So those are the historical facts. Now but what I said was, even then, the Jewish community gave her a pass. She explained it. One mistake, people make mistakes. Here's her history of anti-Semitism. She's not going to be barred from going into Australia because of anything she said about Israel. That is a fabrication. She's going to be barred. Australia is my wife's country, born in Sydney. She's going to be barred to go to Australia because she's a Holocaust denier, because a 100-year-old victim of Josef Mengele, the angel of death's experiments, came forward and said, "You are going to traumatize me all over again." She actually said that Mengele's experiments, the fourth worst person in Nazi Germany after Hitler, Himmler, Goebbels, Mengele, it was a fabrication. She's an out and out Holocaust denier. And Australia, God bless them, took in so many survivors after the war, including my wife's family from Slovakia.
Well, let me ask Candace Owens now.
Wait, she said that the Mengele experiments were false. Go ahead.
Let me ask Candace Owens now two things. One, are you a Holocaust denier, or do you accept that 6 million Jews were killed by the Nazis in the Holocaust? And secondly,
hang on. Now, I am positive that no less than 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust. Absolutely. I don't think anyone should dispute that. Obviously, not one single person less than 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust. However, even though I absolutely accept that as the truth, YouTube, and I'm saying that no less than 6 million died, and I want to be very clear about my position, are we now defining someone who is a Holocaust denier as someone who questions whether or not less than 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust? Like, is that the standard? Is that the standard? You must believe that no less than 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust. Otherwise, you are a Holocaust denier. Because it seems to me, and again, I absolutely believe that no less than 6 million Jews died. I'm playing devil's advocate here, YouTube, okay? I'm playing devil's advocate. You're telling me if you believe 5 million Jews died in the Holocaust, that you're a Holocaust denier? You're telling me that you can't believe that, like, so let's just play out a scenario here. Let's say you believe that Jews in Germany were rounded up and put into camps. You believe that a significant number of Jews died in those camps. Maybe let's just throw out a number. I'm just picking a number like at random. Can we say maybe like, what if you believe that, maybe like 300,000 Jews died in those concentration camps? 300,000 is still a really big number. And you're not denying that World War II happened. You're not denying that the camps exist. You're not denying that Jews were put in the camps. You're just saying maybe, because I've heard people make this argument. I, of course, would never make this argument because I believe no less than 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust. But I have heard many people say on Twitter, which is a deeply anti-Semitic platform, I have heard people say that maybe only like 300,000 Jews died in the Holocaust. Are we saying those people are Holocaust deniers? Because they're not denying that a lot of people died. They're not denying the event took place. They're just questioning the number. Is that the bar now? That seems a little bit of an unreasonable standard to me. Are we advocating putting people in jail if they say that less than 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust? Because haven't people been jailed in Germany for saying that? Do we really think people should go to jail for saying that maybe less than 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust, even though I would never say that? Obviously, I would never, ever, 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 ever say such a thing. That just seems a little, that seems to be a little bit much to me. It's been that way since I can remember. Decades ago, I did the math, and it would be impossible. Well, again, Rain Nation, I absolutely believe that no less than 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust. I disavow your super chat. I'll take the money. I'll appreciate the money, but I disavow fundamentally because I am on YouTube. And on YouTube, I have to say that absolutely 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust. Because I don't want to be considered a Holocaust denier, so I will say the things I need to say. So disavow. I would never suggest such a thing.
Believe that Joseph Mengele did what he is reported to have done and has been since World War II ended.
Thank you for those questions. No, absolutely, I am not a Holocaust denier. This is, again, another fabrication based off of a monologue that I did in which I was putting pressure on the American government to explain why it is a fact that we learned all of these things about the horrific things that Nazi scientists did. And to be clear, Piers, I did not even mention Joseph Mengelé's name in this skit at all. I spoke about all the things that we learned, that we were told over the years, some of which ended up being rebutted, and there were tons of that part doesn't matter. The point is, the end conclusion of that is that the CIA, via an operation known as Operation Paperclip, took the Nazi scientists and brought them to America, where they continued horrific experiments on Americans. That's the full context of that. So they pulled out a statement, one sentence where I said, we've heard all of these sorts of things that they've done, cut people in half, sewed them back together. And I said, that sounds like a ridiculous waste of time. And when you pull that clip up by itself, it sounds like I'm just diminishing all of these stories, when in reality, I'm saying, let's take everything at face value. Let's say everything we've ever heard was true. Why on earth would the American government acquiesce to bringing these scientists over to America? And as a fact, Dr. Mengele was not one of the scientists which was brought over to America. So
but just to be clear, you accept, hang on, I'll come to you, Rabbi Shmuley. To be clear, you accept the Nazis murdered 6 million Jews in the Holocaust?
Yeah, I have never once in any of my appearances
No, I'm just asking you to clarify.
denied the Holocaust atrocities.
Okay.
Ever.
And you accept that Joseph Mengele was a despicable man who perpetrated horrendous crimes, including experimenting on Jewish people when they were still alive?
All of the scientists, the Nazi experiments that were done were horrific. And that's why I was saying they were so horrific that it makes you go, why on earth would the American government in this clandestine operation bring over the Nazi scientists, who then became a part of our CIA and continued experiments onto America through to the 60s and the 70s. And I was
let me ask Rabbi
what those
Shmuley
experiments were that was done throughout the Korean War.
That is a fair question. That is a really fair question. Why did America bring over all the Nazi scientists? That's a fair question. Another question people might ask, and again, I would never ask this question. I'm but a lowly woman, and I'm repeating what I've heard from men, because I'm just a woman, and I can't think for myself, and I'm just repeating what I've heard from men, and I'm just curious. I'm just for the sake of argument. If Germany had all these great scientists, then why wasn't the technology in the concentration camps just a little bit better? Because it really feels like Germany had all these great scientists, and it really feels like, when the Americans showed up and there were just like all these bodies in the which were horrific tragedies. And those but I'm just saying, like, why wasn't there better if the goal was to be as efficient as possible in the death of in eliciting death on every Jew in the world? Why didn't they use the technology of their amazing scientists that America poached after World War II? Because these scientists were so good that America was like, we're going to overlook the fact that you're Nazis. You can come and work for us now. Like, why wasn't there better technology in the concentration camps? Again, I'm not like, I'm just repeating what I've heard from men. It's probably a stupid question. Did she just reveal this debate is actually a skit? Yeah, I mean, kind of. kind of. It's true. Candace Owens is right. The ignorant among the fools can't see. They are becoming more untrustworthy with every second because of more lies they tell. Well, yeah. Yeah.
Rabbi Shmuley, your response.
And I read it.
After this debate, we will post every single clip. That was a complete and utter fabrication. What she said was that she doubts that any of this happened because it was, as she just said, a waste of time. The whole Holocaust was a waste of time. Hitler had no winter equipment for his soldiers in Stalingrad under General Paulus in 1942 because the boxcars were taking Jews to Auschwitz. You see, that is what hatred is, Candace. It's where you hate so much that it becomes self-destructive. It's what's happening to you. You're a very gifted, eloquent broadcaster. You are self-destructing before America's eyes because you have some issue with the Jews, not with Israel. So let me continue. You actually said that Theodore Herzl was a Frankist. By the way, when you attack Frankists as a bunch of Jewish pedophiles, you forget to mention they all became part of your religion. They all converted in 1757 to Catholicism. You always omit that. But you said that Theodore Herzl was a Frankist, and you said he set up the state of Israel as a refuge for pedophiles. This is before Gaza. This is before Rafah, as a refuge for Jewish pedophiles. You always refer to Jews as pedophiles. It's the main word you use about Jews. And every historian knows that what began in Norwich in 1099 with the first blood libel, where the Jews were falsely accused of taking a Christian child and drinking his blood, you actually believe that. You said that Christian bodies, this is before Rafah, this is before Israel, that Christian bodies were found all over Europe. And when you speak about pedophilia, you know, it's funny, you just converted to Catholicism. In 2002, Pope John Paul II, a pope that you would probably like, he was very conservative, he was a great man, great friend of the Jewish community, recognized the state of Israel, sent an ambassador in 1994. He apologized, very frail, to the world Catholic community, saying that at least 2% of all Catholic priests were pedophiles. Later, Pope Benedict XVI apologized again. I met Pope Benedict, a great man, great friend of the Jewish community. He said it was 4%. Then Pope Francis raised it probably even higher, 6%. We know 1 million people, almost 1 million people, children in France alone, according to the French government, were abused by Catholic priests. But you've never once condemned Catholic pedophilia. Everyone knows it was the biggest scandal in the world, but only the Jews are pedophiles. Is that anti-Semitism?
Okay, let me ask Candace, do you condemn pedophiles in the Catholic Church, Christian pedophiles?
Yeah, he's just lying again. Actually, on my show, I spoke extensively about Frankism, and I told people that there was a conversion into the Catholic faith. And one of the things that I believe is that all of the Abrahamic religions have been infiltrated by Satanists, and that is what I've said. So they've decided to pull apart only the piece where I'm talking about Judaism.
All the Abrahamic religions have been infiltrated by Satanists. And this is where things start to go off the rails. All the Abrahamic religions have been infiltrated by Satanists. Do people realize how stupid that sounds? I mean, everyone knows that's stupid, right? Yeah, and we just, Candace L. It's over. It looked promising, and then it was over.
And not where I'm speaking about all of the faiths having been infiltrated, and speaking about how it's important for everyone to recognize this so that you can realize that
everyone
there is this sort of satanic cult that's operating within all of the faiths. And I think that they use Christians and they use Jews and Muslims as well. I've said that on my show multiple times. So he's just absolutely lying about that. I think the difference here is that you'd be hard pressed to find a Catholic that would in any capacity defend pedophilia. Now, regarding what he is saying that I said Judaism is filled with pedophiles, that is objectively nonsense. I am a Christian. I'm aware of what the first 5 books of my Bible are. That would be me insinuating that, okay, well, the first 5 books of my Bible are inspired by pedophilia. That's absolutely false. What I said, and I'm hopeful that this is something that the rabbi will agree with, is that it is a fact that Jewish pedophiles, American Jewish pedophiles, escape and run and hide in Israel, where they are given safe harbor by the government. That is a fact. They will not extradite our pedophiles. That is an absolute nonsense, given the many billions of dollars that we give to Israel, that we can't get back the men that are raping children, okay? And I can't imagine a single person that would think otherwise, that is not a nonsense and that we should not be giving back those pedophiles. And to be clear, it wasn't Candace Owens who researched and came up with this. It was an incredible Jewish organization that looked into this, talked about how wrong it was, and brought it into the mainstream media. If you don't like that Israel is harboring pedophiles, that's not on me. That is on the state of Israel, okay? Again, I am condemning the state of Israel for harboring American pedophiles and not extraditing them. Do you have a disagreement there, Rabbi? If so, please share.
Thank you, Candace. Not only is that an absolute lie and fabrication against Israel, the most famous example, the country that will now bar you from entering because you're a Holocaust denier, not because of Israel, because a 100-year-old experimentee of Mengele came forward and said, do not subject me to this trauma. And the Interior Minister of Australia said, wait, what's it?
Well, she just said it.
No. But she denies
You can't call someone a
experiments,
Holocaust
and that's
denier
not,
when they literally just said 6 million Jews got killed in the Holocaust.
Wait.
That's not Holocaust
Wait
denial.
a second. Come on,
not,
Piers. Come on, Piers. You're more subtle than that.
It's not about being
you can
subtle.
say that
It's
6
about you
million
literally
Jews
just
died.
heard
You
her
can say that. You can say.
she believes
of course,
the
you could be a
Holocaust
Holocaust denier. Why don't you let me answer, please? You could say that 6 million Jews were accidentally bombed by Curtis LeMay and by Bomber Harris, and
didn't say that.
and there was no Zyklon B. She said that Mengele did not do those experiments. By the way, this is not my decision.
Didn't even mention
this is the
Mengele's
government
name.
of Australia that is barring her. Please don't interrupt me, Candace. The most famous example in Australia of a Jewish pedophile. Please don't interrupt me. The most famous example of a Jewish pedophile was a woman named Malka Laufer. She was a religious woman from Melbourne, Australia. And she apparently abused 74 children. She ran to Israel. She was prosecuted by Israel, extradited. She is in Australia being prosecuted right now. This is a total fabrication. And it comes down to what Candace has the most unhealthy obsession with Jewish sexuality. Notice that we all know that the Vatican, of course, took cardinals, like the Cardinal Archbishop of Boston, and gave them the highest positions in the Vatican. She has never criticized that. Only Israel. Now, Candace, let me ask you a point-blank question. Did you say that Theodor Herzl, you said he was a Frankist or descended from Frankists. Again, Frankists all became Catholic. He was Jewish. Did you say that Theodor Herzl set up Israel as a haven for Jewish pedophiles?
Okay, first and foremost, I just want to debunk your claim that what I said was a lie. It is in CBS News, and it was the Jewish Community Watch, an American organization that tracks accused pedophiles, who has been trying for years to find a specific pedophile. They are the ones that brought this to the forefront, and CBS News partnered with them.
What's the name of the pedophile? What's the name of that pedophile? I just gave you a name, Malka Laufer. What's the name of that pedophile?
Well, they were tracking down
you
a
don't
pedophile
know, do you?
named Carew.
Now let's go to the Vatican.
Carew.
How many people they allowed? How many cardinal archbishops were protected?
Please don't cut me off. Please don't cut me off.
Okay.
You told a lie, and so I'm debunking it live for you. The pedophile
What's
they were
the
tracking
name
down
of the pedophile they're
Jimmy,
looking for? What's the name?
I'm trying to say it for the third time. His name is Jimmy Julius Carew.
You're looking it up right now? You mean you said all this and you had no idea?
The title of the article in CBS News is entitled...
Okay.
Oh my God. She repeats the name 3 fucking times. You mean you had no idea. You had no idea. Bro. She's just repeated the name 3 fucking times and you don't know it because you've just been yapping the whole fucking time.
How Jewish American pedophiles hide from justice in Israel. CBS News teamed up with a Jewish organization and came to this conclusion because they were the ones that brought it to the forefront. So courageous Jewish people who are
Do we
calling
really
this out
need
as
someone
something
to
that is
read
wrong.
off the internet
Jewish
in a
Community
debate?
Watch
This is not
the
your
name
show.
of
This
the
is a debate.
organization.
Okay.
I am debunking.
Did you say that Theodor Herzl created the state of... No,
I
Piers,
think we are getting,
did she
if you
say
don't mind
that
me
Theodor
saying,
Herzl
I think
set up Israel?
We are getting too obsessionally sidetracked into pedophilia. When
No. This is one critical thing. Did she say that Theodor Herzl set up Israel as a haven for pedophiles?
I want to end. We've got to end the debate, and I want to end the debate by giving you both this opportunity. Right? You are both religious people. Right? Every religion purports to be peace-loving. Right? Religions are supposed to spread peace and harmony and love and respect and kindness. Whether you're a Catholic, as I am, as Candace is, whether you're a Jew, as you are,
totes.
Rabbi Shmuley. So I'm going to ask you both, and I'll start with you, Candace, to say something nice about Rabbi Shmuley. Be a Christian. What would you say?
Totes.
Yeah, I actually deeply appreciate Rabbi Shmuley having a platform. It's not something that I've ever said I want his platform stripped away, because I think that he does more in terms of revealing what it is that I'm speaking about when I'm talking about radicalism than anybody else. And so in that way, I'm grateful that he has a platform, and I would never call for him to be banned from anywhere. I hope he gets a megaphone, and I think that
as a
people
human being,
watching his behavior today...
Do you see any saving grace as a human being?
No.
I think I will pray for him. I will pray for his conversion into Christianity. I don't think it's normal to lie like that and feel nothing, but he continues to do it. He's filing FBI reports against me over pizza. I don't have any hatred in my heart towards Rabbi Shmuley. I really don't. And like I've said, I hope he forever has a platform because I think that it showcases to the world what it is that I'm speaking about when we speak about radical Zionism.
Okay, Rabbi Shmuley, do you want to say something nice about Candace Owens?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
bless her heart.
She is gifted by God with incredible eloquence. I think she can repent
Bless her
and
heart.
cease being a force for hatred against the black community who call her Candace, who have rejected her utterly. She is one of the most despised women in America by the black community. She is doing a whole new tour to be reaccepted. I think she can use her eloquence to apologize. Instead, she essentially hinted that the only reason she attacked the black community for the past 4 years, calling them stupid and dumb and can't vote for themselves and cry wolf and racism, was because she was forced to do so at the Daily Wire. I call it the Daily Liar. Maybe that's correct, but I think she should take personal responsibility. Saying that Israel was created as a haven for Jewish pedophiles by Theodore Herzl is not the way she's going to repent. Saying that she defends Kanye West when he says he loves Hitler. Hitler killed 10,000 Jews a day, 3 9/11s a day for 4 years.
Okay.
Between 1941 and 1945.
I think we know the greatest
wait one
hits-
second, please.
No,
Piers.
I know the
And
greatest
wait one
hits are
second,
coming.
please.
It's fine. We've heard them.
But
All
you
I
know, you
wanted you to
wanted
do
to
was
speak.
say something
and you
nice.
said, I think
didn't want to hear the
she
Rabbi
could use
Shmuley
her.
greatest hits of how awful
I think
Candace
she could
Owens is.
use.
That's how he started
I
this.
think she could use her eloquence to repent. That's all.
Okay.
And I think finally, that if Candace could just come forward and admit that as a Christian, Jesus said clearly that you cannot approach him except through the Jews. He said that the Jews are the root and Christians are the branch. The fact that we in the community consider her the number
Because Jews created Christianity. I don't know who needs to hear that, but Jews created Christianity. You are worshiping a Jewish God. It is a Jewish religion. They created Islam too. I don't know who needs to hear that. Listen, man, I respect Christians to be Christian. You guys want to be Christian. You guys want to be Catholic. I don't really care. That's fine. Everyone has their own path. But Jews created Christianity. I'm just saying.
one anti-Semite in America means that she cannot relate to Jesus. So I'm saying become a Christian. That's a nice, very nice thing to say. The fact that Jesus said, I'm sent only to the lost sheep of
Okay.
Israel. Come and learn about the Jewish Jesus. You know what, Candace? I'll give you a free copy of my book, Kosher Jesus. It teaches you about the Jewish Jesus. The meek shall inherit the earth.
The
Love your
Jewish
enemies.
All
Turn
right.
the other cheek. Don't say, and
The
stop
Jewish
calling me a killer.
Jesus.
Stop saying I'm trying to kill you. You've said it over and over
All right.
again. You are saying
I think
what
we've
Henry II
established-
said. Rid me of this troublesome
Rabbi
priest.
Shmuley, I think we've established you're struggling to find anything nice to say about Candace, but I appreciate you both coming on together for this debate. I think it's been very illuminating, and thank you for doing it. Thank you for being uncensored.
All right.
Thank you very much, Piers.
All right. Well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well. That was interesting. That was a fun time. That was a fun time had by all, and that's all we have time for today. That is all we have time for today, guys. Actually, no, I have one other thing. I have one other thing to show you. As a reminder, I will be doing a Twitter space later tonight. Hang on, let me show you. Bing. There we go. I will be doing a Twitter space at 9 p.m. tonight with Ian Malcolm and Zach, and we're going to be talking about the overlap between far left radical revolutionary socialists and also also the Jews. And so then we're going to be doing that at 9 p.m. tonight. I hope you guys will come and join us. Should be, yep, we didn't reach our we failed to reach our $100,000 goal for today. We failed utterly. We failed completely. But you know what? You guys can make it up for me instead, because we didn't meet our $100,000 goal. There's a couple things you can do. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm sorry. That's just the schedule of the thing. So maybe you can tune in later, and maybe Nick will be late. I know Nick Fuentes is never late, but maybe he'll be late. That's all I'm saying. And if he is late, you guys will have something to listen to. But you guys can make it up to me for not meeting our $100,000 super chat goal by heading over to my Substack, which is Carlin, KARLYN, .substack.com, and you can sign up for a free for the free email list. You can also become a member of the Substack for $8 a month, $80 a year. This is how I pay my bills, guys. This is how I'm able to fund what I do on the internet. So if you guys appreciate what I do, I hope you'll consider supporting it. Thank you so much for that. And of course, please make sure you follow me over on Twitter, Dr. Carlin B. Follow me on Rumble, rumble.com/Carlin, where we'll be doing deep dive into the Talmud relatively soon. And again, I will be doing a Twitter space 9 p.m. Eastern time tonight, where we'll be talking about some stuff. All right. I will be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Take care, guys. We'll see you soon. Bye.